Again, if you're just joining us online on Fans Choice TV, Pat Gonzalez and Richard Chambers, our pleasure to be bringing lap-by-lap coverage of the 75th Daytona 200 by Victory, not only to the live crowd here at Daytona International Speedway, but on Fans Choice TV throughout the United States, Canada, and around the world, as the Victory Octane Rick Brewer will bring it back on the pit road. Again, this is a 2017 brand new Victory model, the Octane, 1179 cc's, 104 horsepower, 76 foot-pounds of torque, a 6-speed transmission, and the performance numbers 0 to 60 in about 3.6 seconds. And again, that model available at the Victory Motorcycles showrooms. So the riders rolling back in.
Position, but he is dashed down to his pit area. Now you're remembering the old track with no chicane. Pat, I remember when they used to qualify on the triangle, and I think the record for that was like 160 miles an hour. David Aldana, they put 2 front tires on a triple and pumped them up to about 60 psi. He went 161 miles an hour in qualifying. After that, they decided to use the regular course to get around to qualify for all of our main events. Right now, we're going to try to move in and out of work with some of our competitors that come back. Let's talk to our pole sitter right off the bat, Jeff May, the crowd-funded effort. All of the folks who were with him last year are back this year. Jeff, maybe this year you can reward all those fans of yours with a win. You put a great ride in last year, but I know you wanted more.
Yeah, absolutely. That one just stuck away from us. We're going to do our best today and put on a good show. I got to really thank Mr. Gerald Glass for TTO getting me out here, helping me sponsor this race, making it happen for me. William Myers, my crew chief, has been kicking butt all weekend. Moon Super Cycle with me, an amazingly fast R6 engine to put this thing up on pole. And we're going to get out there and show them what we can do. There's a lot of other people I got to thank too. I'm so stoked to be at the road right now. I'm a little emotional.
All right, buddy, you just concentrate on doing the deal and go get them.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, Jeff May, our pole sitter for the second year in a row. We're going to try to move back and have a word with the man sitting on the outside of row number 1, the number 371 machine, Stefano Mesa, the Westside Performance rider here. Stefano, outside row 1, a great place to start from.
Yeah, great player. I mean, it's such a long race. We're just going to go out, try to with the pack, and hopefully we'll be there at the end of the race and we can do something. It's great to be here, great to see so many guys out here. Thanks for everybody out coming and hopefully we'll do great races.
But you got a different battery in this year.
Yeah, it does.
All right, Stefano Mesa was with the lead pack last year and unfortunately came up with a problem there to actually drop him out of that lead pack. Let's jump in and talk to the number 64 machine here, TOBC Racing's Shane Narbonne. Shane, getting all hydrated up. Are you ready for 200 miles?
Yeah, I'm sure. I just can't wait to get this thing started. It's been a crazy weekend so far, and just coming here and do it on my own. But the TOBC crew let me ride their bike, so it's been great. The guys have been great to work with, and I just can't say thanks enough. And of course, Dunlop Tires for really helping me out this weekend too. So it should be a good one. Just steady and smooth, and get those pit stops.
Steady and smooth and fast indeed. Go get him, Shane Narbonne.
Thanks.
TOBC Racing, let's move back now. Jason Farrell, we had a chance to talk to him a little bit earlier this morning during the autograph session. Well, how did the parade lap go, Jason?
Yeah, parade lap was fun, and Rick went all fast when I thought he was going to go on that lap. So, yeah, we had a good time out there. We waited for the crowd and all that. So, I hope you're all out there ready to watch the real good race. It's going to be a great time. Looking forward to everyone that's been about races on the ride. So, it's going to be cool.
All right, go get him, Jason Farrell. Moving over now to talk to Mr. Heckle. Oh, you disappeared on me. All right, we're going to talk to Barrett Long, third-generation racer. His grandfather raced on the beach, and now here he is, the third generation of racing. Barrett Long, buddy, outside row 3. That's a good place to jump into the pack. All right, buddy. Barrett Long got his race fake on. And we're 1 minute away from the 5 board. Let's jump outside and talk to Cedric Tenray. Cedric, French Super Sport champion, endurance racer. Are you ready for this endurance race?
Yeah, I'm waiting to fight and do the maximum I can for TBC racing.
All right, you go have a good ride.
Yeah, thank you.
His first 200 for the French Super Sport champion. Here we'll jump back and talk to one of the top riders out of up in the Minnesota area. And again, Steely, welcome to Daytona, buddy. I understand you do a little microphone work back home.
I do. I figured a long time ago we started announcing with the CR in my local club when I wasn't racing, and I think people prefer me being off the track. It's probably less dangerous, so I like to get on the mic, and it's a great way to make fun of people and have a good time, and they can't really reply back. So it's kind of a god complex.
Oh, you're a devious announcer. You remind me of Chris Carter.
That is a huge compliment, so I will take that very much.
All right, have a good ride. Let's come over and talk to Mark Rhodes. Mark Rhodes, rookie expert, first 200, buddy. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm excited to be here. Just honored to be on this grid. Watched from the sides last year, so this year I'm really stoked to be this far up front. So hopefully we'll put this constantly up front.
All right, go have a good ride in the Farrell Performance Center. We're going to try to get up. Now we're less than a minute away from the 5-minute board. There's the whistles telling the riders to start removing the tire warmers and all non-essential equipment. We're going to try to jump up, and the riders are being instructed to clear the area. Let's jump in and have a word with Michael Barnes. Michael Barnes, before you put your helmet on, buddy, you go have a good ride.
Thanks, Richard. It's going to be fun for sure. Appreciate it.
All right, Michael Barnes on the Palm Beach Police Association sponsored entry, and they are whistling to clear the grid. All non-essential personnel now scrambling to clear the grid. The 5-minute board just about ready to come out for the 75th running of the Daytona 200 by victory. Pat?
Warm-up lap coming up on the pole position. Jack May, number 99, qualified at a minute 50.627 on the Yamaha, the Sugar Hill, Georgia rider on the Project Mayday TTR R6 Yamaha. The middle of the row, number 34, Michael Barnes on the Boca Raton, Florida on the R6 Yamaha, the Creative Performance Palm Beach Police Force Foundation sponsored rider. Then the outside of row 1, 371 is Stefan Mesa out of Boca Raton, Florida. That is the West Side Performance R6 Yamaha, and the Yamaha machines fill that front row. Inside row 2 will be 64 Shane Arbone out of Tinsboro, Mass, aboard the old company TOBC Yamaha machine. Middle of the row, number 19, the fine young rider out of Calistoga, California. Trackside suspension and engineering, R6 mounted Wyatt Ferris, one of the new rising stars in American road racing. The first of the non-Yamaha machines goes outside row 2. That is number 13, Corey West from Eureka Springs, Arkansas, on the Heiser cycle, Pirelli Shot CDR 600 R. That motorcycle is a 2010 model Honda that has been updated. Starting 7th on the grid, inside row 3 is 86 Jason Farrell from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, on the Farrell Performance Kawasaki ZX 600. The middle of row 3, 45, Mark Peckles, originally from Great Britain, now calling Herman New York. He is position is the number 77 machine, Mark Rhodes on a Kawasaki out of Itasca, Illinois. Row 6 on the inside, number 94 is Justin Holderman on a Yamaha. The middle of row 6, 17th starting position for rider number 926, Patricia Fernandez out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. The ADR Fly Racing Yamaha rider had a great run in qualifying here yesterday, completing row 6. 18th starting position, number 411, will be Daniel Spalding out of Daytona, Florida on a Kawasaki. The Superwash Express Racing sponsored rider. Daytona just about 25 minutes west of Daytona. Back on the inside of row 7, 19th starting position for number 79, Tony Storniolo on a Kawasaki. 84, Anthony Fania will be on a Yamaha 600. He is 20th on the grid, and 21st starting position belongs to number 484, Joseph Giannato, and he will be on an R6 Yamaha. Row 8 on the inside, 22nd on the grid is Joseph Resta on a Yamaha. Then number 11, Michel Almeric, the French rider, on a Honda number 23. And outside of the row, 24th starting position is number 120, Matthew Jandron on an R6 Yamaha. Back on the inside of row 9, he won the Daytona 200 back in 1989 in a Honda 750. John Ashley making his 33rd start in the Daytona 200 aboard the Peter Brady Racing Kawasaki. He is going after the all-time mileage record for the event with 34. Out on the field there alongside 594 is David McPherson on a Yamaha, and rider number 20, CJ LaRoche, 27 on the grid on the outside. So the 3-4 being shown to the field. Rider 332, Arthur Asmacarian on the number 332 machine, starts inside row 10, middle of the row. Canadian rider in the field, 229, Derek Chambers on North Vancouver, British Columbia on the Wilderness Racing Trinity Motorcycles machine, and completing row 10, 30th position for 303, Joel Lang on the Yamaha R6, 3 holes, 3 on the field, Richard Chambers.
I'll try to jump in just a minute, but again, looking at the field now, as it looks like
Mesa 371 has got company in the battle here for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Very tight as they run into the chicane, and it is 10 riders up in that lead pack here into the chicane on the opening lap. So far on this opening lap, Barnes has taken to the 31 degree east banking here now on lap number 1. Michael Barnes from that front row able to get the whole shot. And as they work off of turn number 4, the Super Speedway, and head back here to the stripe, it is Yamaha, and Kawasaki. Here comes Farrell on the Kawasaki's going to the high side. right there and battling for that fourth place position. That chasing group is trying to catch the front-running trio. And Michael Lawrence, 34, has taken the lead here out of the infield and back up to the west back to May, the full center, still running in second, and here the Kawasaki of Jason runs the third place spot. Then we've got that gap of about 25 lengths back to the next group that has about 6 riders in it, and then another little gap back to the next couple of machines down that back straightaway. But this is a monumental battle going on up front. Michael Lawrence holds the lead. John Payne of 99 in second. Then it is that Kawasaki of Jason Cole in the third place. There's still holding about a 25-leg gap back to that chasing group of about 6 machines running their positions elsewhere in the top 10. Here comes the front-running trio. And I believe we've got a couple of riders off the racetrack at the chicane as the front-running 3 riders come to the line. Jeff May goes to the front against Michael Lawrence. Let's give you the rest of the rundown. We were lap number 3. Jeff May with the lead at the end of that second lap as they're about to work over turn number 2 of the Super Speedway to get it run down the back straightaway. That into the second place to score 19. Ryan Morris was into the fourth place spot. Shane Gold 64 in fifth. Sixth was 45. Mark Heckle 737 wants to final. Mason about to come out onto that west banking, a pack of slower riders. So in just 9 laps, they're into the tail end of the field. Let's give a call here to the number 683 machine. Ryan Jones continues to turn in a solid ride. He is 11th. Also, Patricia Fernandez in 20th, the young lady from Tulsa, Oklahoma, sitting 20th here in the rundown aboard that R6 Yamaha. Rich?
Pat, on the back straightaway, they continue to deal with traffic. Oh, man, rush hour traffic in the braking zone. Whoever was trying to dive through that traffic scrubbed off the rest of the pack. We'll have to see how that shakes out, but it was some real desperate stuff getting into the chicane as they funnel back up on the banking. We'll see who comes out with the advantage. Barnes now has caught back up to Narbonne. I think he'll be able to work his way back up in the draft, maybe even help Narbonne on the TBOC Yamaha back toward the front. But as they come back toward start finish, it has started to stretch just a little bit. Now passing one rider is easy, but passing a pack is hard. Here they come, shuffling more traffic into turn number 1, Pat. And again, it's just a madcap dash down into turn 1 around all that traffic. Pat?
One of the riders ran wide going back into turn number 1. Michael Barnes, 34. The leader here across the line. Wyatt Ferris, 19, was second. 99, Jeff May, third. Farrell, number 86, fourth. And then Shane Narbonne in fifth as they work on the infield straightaway. Out of the running already here this afternoon, Christopher Knopf, number 31. He crashed early in the race at the chicane. Also out of the running here is the number 13 machine of Corey West, the Heiser Cycle Honda, to the sidelines along with veteran rider number 38, Brett Ray. All of those riders make an early exit out of the 75th Daytona 200 by victory. Meanwhile, we continue to watch this monumental battle going on up front. Michael Barnes, 34, your leader. Wyatt Ferris, the California rider, in second. Jeff May, 99, third. 86, Farrell is fourth. And Shane Narbonne runs in that fifth place position. Then we've got about a 9-second gap back to a great fight for sixth and seventh involving 45 Mark Eccles, the Brooklyn, New York rider, and Stefano Mesa, number 371, who is seventh. Slovenia's Bastian Skubik is eighth. The sixth machine of Bruno Silva runs ninth. The number 29, Barrett Long, out of Miami, Florida, on that Longevity Racing Ducati 848, rounds out the top 10 at the moment. Rich?
Leaders work their way off of the NASCAR forward banking and run back to the stripe. Michael Barnes trying the same act that Jeff May tried a little bit earlier and trying to run away, but it just doesn't work with the chasing pack so strong as they work across start finish. He's got a little bit of a cushion built up, but again, those three riders there behind him going 3 wide and shuffling the order again. Now, if Barnes is going to try to make his escape, he will try to move ahead of the lap riders and possibly just like he did in the chicane. I think that was him that took the ultimate chance diving through traffic, and that might have got him that big lead that he enjoys right now in the infield straightaway down to the fast lap. There's some more traffic coming, Pat, as they work down to that West Horseshoe.
And I think he got hung up behind that single rider. He'll stuff it in on the inside as they go to that West Horseshoe turn. So some of the advantage he did have, Rich, I think, has evaporated in the run here through the infield, as they still have some other slower machines to get around as they'll work out of the infield up to that west banking, working lap 11. The window, the first scheduled stops for fuel and tires, is going to come anywhere between about lap 20 to 22. Some riders may elect to come in a little bit earlier than that, but that should be the first scheduled window somewhere in there. Michael Barnes continues to lead it here. He has run a bunch of these Daytona 200 events. The rider out of Boca Raton, Florida, has been consistently quick. He was the fastest in the first practice session for the Daytona 200 going back to Thursday, was second to Jeff May in qualifying yesterday. And right now, as they get around another slower rider there up in the east banking, it's going to be 3 wide one more time as they work off of turn number 4 and head back here to the stripe. Michael Barnes, 34, rolls up across the line. He's opened up about a 2.4 second advantage on Jeff May, who does not want to allow him to get away. Jason Farrell, I believe, has moved around Jeff May to grab second as they went back into the infield. And that last lap for Michael Barnes was a minute 52, and the trailing riders were a minute 54. So that is the reason he's been able to stretch it out here on the infield straightaway as they works down to the fast left-hander. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, Pirelli tires versus Dunlop tires here in the tire battle that's going on. Michael Barnes on the Pirelli rubber, and that might be starting to show some of the gap that he has built up on him. Meanwhile, behind him, those four riders continue to argue and chop each other off. That is not helping them at all. And Michael Barnes, running all alone, can kind of dodge and dive through traffic on his own and not really spook anybody. The rest of the pack now, this is the biggest lead of the 200. Michael Barnes with almost a full 2 seconds on the chasing pack. And again, that pack will go side by side, mixing it up, beating and banging on each other. That's slowing them down as Barnes works away from him on the back straightaway.
Well, the fastest lap of the race actually belongs to Wyatt Ferris on that number 19 machine. He's part of that chasing quartet trying to run down Michael Barnes, 34, but Barnes continues to lead it. Big wheelie by 99 Jeff May as he came out of the chicane. Here comes Farrell. That Kawasaki has showed a lot of top-end speed and horsepower. Farrell will drop to the low side of May and grab that second place position coming off of turn number 4 of the Super Speedway. But this is an impressive run by Michael Barnes, able to run all by himself and hold off this chasing group of 4 as they work back into the infield. It is Barnes your leader by 3.3 seconds. That last lap for Barnes was a minute 51.093. Jason Farrell in second, 99 Jeff May third, 19 Wyatt Ferris fourth, and Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha holding on to that fourth place position. Let's give you the rest of the top 10. It is Stefano Mesa, 371 in sixth, 45 Mark Heckles is seventh, Bastian Skubik, 74, runs eighth, ninth is Bruno Silva, and up into 10th is 683 Ryan Jones. Jones started 50th on the grid, and here on lap number 13, he's all the way up into that 10th place position. 29, Barrett Long is 11th, 12th is 84 Anthony Fania, 13th, 411 Daniel Spalding, and then Darren James now has gone through here. He's up into 14th after starting 29th. Chris Skellinger, 15 is 15th, 16th is 77 Mark Rhodes, 94 Justin Holderman runs 17th, 18th is 745 Joseph Resta, 19th is 926 Patricia Fernandez, and then running out the top 24, 84 Joseph Giannato as we work lap number 13. And up front, Michael Barnes able to pull a little bit of a breakaway, but now those chasing riders able to match the lap times that Barnes has put up on the board.
Yeah, Pat, and he is inching away from him, 2 or 3 tenths of a second here and there, just slowly moving clear of these riders. And again, you got to start thinking about that pit stop that's coming up here in just about 4 or 5 laps. The window will start to open for that first round of pit stops. And Barnes building a cushion. He wants to have a nice advantage when he rolls in here to grab a tank of fuel and 2 fresh Pirelli tires from the Pareto Performance crew. So again, as they work up to speed on the back straightaway, that formed up pack just unable to make any kind of move at all at chasing down the race leader. Barnes just consistently putting some good hard laps in, and it has really built him the biggest lead of the race. In fact, he adds to it again, another 2 or 3 tenths for Barnes, and now it's just about equalized, Pat. One of the riders, I think that's Jeff May, has broken out of that pack. He sees Barnes starting to pull away, and he wants to jump up there and get involved with chasing down the race leader. Here they come back to the strike. Pat?
Indeed, this will be lap number 14 about to go up in the books. We've got a pack of riders who are about to get lapped as we wait for the riders to work back on around here. Checking John Ashmead, 37. He's currently running 29th, but again, he's completed 12 laps. And Rich, I think that should be enough to give him the all-time Daytona mileage record in terms of miles completed. Remember, this was his 33rd start in the Daytona 200. Going back, of course, 1989 was his one win. So one of 3 Daytona 200 champions who took part in that autograph session before we rolled out here this afternoon for the event. Lap number 14 as the riders roll up across the line. That is David McPherson, number 594, going through. He is running with John Ashmead, who has moved up into 28th position as they complete the lap. And now the front running 5. Lap 14 goes up on the board. Michael Barnes, your leader, by about 4.7 seconds. Jeff May just ahead of 19, Wyatt Ferris. Jason Farrell on the Kawasaki now down into 4th and 64. Shane Narbonne is in 5th. The last of that quartet just working out of the International Horseshoe and out on the infield straightaway as Jeff May will bring those 4 riders. But again, they're about 4.7 seconds back of Michael Barnes, who's going to have to contend with some slower traffic as he works down to the West Horseshoe. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, and he is like a surgeon through traffic. I saw him push one rider wide just a little bit going into turn number 3, and then he jumped right on line, got a good drive out, and now he will deal with more traffic around the outside. That's the long way to do it. But Barnes whips it right up near the Daytona USA sign and takes over another position. Now he'll pull a draft off the machine that he is closing in on 2 lap, and that'll benefit him as he pulls alongside. Oh, that's the pack for second.
Now he is Barnes coming up on John Ashmead. He'll make the pass, so Ashmead goes a lap down. So now already just 27 riders running on that lead lap. The next rider he's going to pick off here is the number 594 machine, David McPherson, as he will go up around the high side there at the east end of the Speedway. So Michael Barnes, a Boca Raton, Florida rider, just carving his way through the field. He has lapped about half the field already as we work lap number 15. That's about to go in the books. We'll see the interval. It was 4.7 seconds back to Jeff May, Wyatt Ferris, and Jason Farrell, and now they have cut into it. It is 3.5 seconds back to Jeff May after Barnes may have got slowed up just a little bit getting through that traffic, down to 3.5 seconds as we look at Barnes come to the International Horseshoe. And again, I think he may have got slowed up there just a little bit. Now out onto the infield straightaway. And Jeff May, number 99, continues to give chase. Jason Farrell up into 3rd at the end of that 15th lap. Wyatt Ferris, number 19, in 4th. 5th is 64, Shane Narbonne. 6th, the 45 machine of Mark Heckles. Great run here for the Brooklyn, New York rider. Then 371, Stefano Mesa, who started 3rd. Running 7th at the moment. Number 6, Bruno Silva, is 8th. 74, Bastian Skubik, 9th, and still 683, Ryan Jones rounding out the top 10. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, Barnes is doing a masterful job working his way in and out of the draft of the machines he's picking off. He ran McPherson around the outside, then dropped down right in front of McPherson and picked off another piece of traffic. He has built that advantage back up to almost 4 seconds again as they dive into the chicane. Back behind him again, looking at that pack. And again, it looks like Jeff May decided that he did not want to let Michael Barnes get any kind of significant lead at all, and he has gone to the whip and actually put almost a full second now on the chasing riders as they work their way here to the stripe on this lap. Again, starting to think about pit stop time, Pat. It'll be 18 to 20, I would suspect, for our lead riders, so that's still 2 or 3 laps away, but still those tires have to be feeling the pressure of the pace that they're putting on these tires. There's the battle for 3rd, a cross start finish as they exchange that position and try to chase down Jeff May, who is just about 3/4 of a second ahead of him. Here's Barnes, more traffic in the turn 3 area. The rider actually takes the runoff road, or maybe he had stopped for gas or something on pit lane, so he takes the additional area around the horseshoe to get on course, and that is just perfect for Barnes because Barnes flashes by, and now that rider who just came off of pit lane is camped out right in front of Jeff May as they go to the West Horseshoe. Pat?
Michael Barnes had a lap at 1:51.443. The other chasing riders were into the 52. Shane Narbonne was 1:54, so he has dropped a little bit further back, 4.8 seconds. So Barnes looks like he has just put together a string of 1:51 lap times, and that's how he's been able to inch away from that chasing quartet consisting of Jeff May 99, 86 Jason Farrell on the Kawasaki, 19 Wyatt Ferris on the Yamaha, and 64 Shane Narbonne. Still Mark Heckles holding on to 6th. 7th is 371 Stefano Mesa. 8th is the 6 machine of Bruno Silva. 9th 74 Bastian Skubik, and 10th 683 Ryan Jones, who started 50th, come all the way up into 10th.
Oh, Barnes has still got his head down, Pat, as he makes his way off of the banking and comes back here to start finish. He's built it up to almost 5 seconds as they work through some more traffic. Now, at first the traffic is relatively easy. It's a whole lot slower than you are, but the further you get up through the field, the harder it gets to pass them. And again, these riders are battling for their own position. There's second place May, again side by side with Farrell going at it with Shane Narbonne into turn number 1. That's for third place as they battle back there just behind Jeff May, and they are slowly inching back up toward Jeff May. They have not let him get away, and those 3 riders have got to get some kind of plan together because Barnes continues to disappear in the distance. Now almost 5.2 seconds the gap, and he is clear sailing ahead there after he clears the West Horseshoe. Meanwhile, that battle behind him is starting to heat up. It looks like Narbonne really putting the pressure on Farrell. In fact, each of those riders pushing each other hard. They're reeling in the number 99 machine.
Well, that last lap again, Barnes in the 1:51s, Jeff May 1:52, as are the other riders in that quartet that's running for second as the leaders work their way down the back straightaway. We did have a couple of moments there in the chicane as I believe it was Barnes coming up on one of the riders who no, that was Farrell, I think, was the rider who just about put it on the ground, got onto the grass there at the chicane, but did a nice job of saving, and that's the reason he got shuffled back into that 4th place position. Just looking at that on the video replay here on fanschoice.tv. Anxious moment there for Jason Farrell, but he did a beautiful job of pulling that motorcycle back under control. We work lap number 18. We're approaching the first window for scheduled pit stops for fuel and tires. Here's the first of the riders rolling on a pit road.
Barnes flashes by, and now they have definitely caught May. Here's the pit stop going on pit lane. And again, specific instructions given regarding refueling, regarding work on the motorcycle, and they're going instantly to the rear of the motorcycle. That would tell me that they've got a tire problem. They're going to change it first and then refuel it. Meanwhile, Barnes continues to make his escape, but they have caught Jeff May. He was unable to make any kind of break at all, and those 3 riders behind him now have reeled him in through the fast left-hander. It's down to about 12 bike lengths. Pat?
Indeed, the margin 4.3 seconds. So that time Barnes was in the 52s and the chasing group were in the 51s. So they do cut into it. We're seeing the first of the scheduled pit stops here come up at the end of lap 18. Rider number 787, Michael Henao, Boulder, Colorado rider on that Ducati 848, came onto pit road for his first scheduled stop. It's going to be a lengthy one. He had been running, I believe, back in about 20th position when he came onto pit road. Meanwhile, the lead riders on lap number 19, and Michael Barnes had a 4.3 second advantage last time by, but we're going to start to see some of the top riders start to peel off here in the next lap or two.
Yeah, Pat, already you can see some riders traveling very quickly down pit lane. That looks like the number 29 machine, Longevity Racing, may be coming on to, that might have been him on to pit lane now, watching to see exactly which of our front runners is the first to dive on pit lane. A tire fall off hasn't been that bad, Pat.
One of the riders quick on pit road. Michael Barnes, the race leader, is on pit road. Jeff May is going to go to the front here as they work back into turn one. So the race leader, Michael Barnes, is on pit road. So the window is opened up here on the completion of lap number 19. Barnes on pit road.
Looks I think like Shane Narbonne also has moved into pit lane.
So Barnes coming onto pit road. Again, these races can be won or lost unless you got a nice clean pit stop, as Barnes was the first of that lead group to come onto pit road, and he is away. Bruno Silva stays out on the racetrack. He's been going back and forth here with Mark Heckles on the number 45 machine, as well as Stefano Mesa on bike number 371. Bastian Skubik, 74, also came on to pit road, so this is going to shuffle the running order up front. Once everybody has got their scheduled stops done, then we're going to see the positions then shuffle back to something similar to what they were a little bit earlier. So Michael Barnes out on the racetrack after completing his stop, waiting for the other riders who are in that top five to come on a pit road. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, there's some problem down in the fast left-hander waving yellow flag in that part of the racetrack. The motorcycle there on the outside of the racetrack. And there it is, Pat. Oh, goodness, a red flag. Who would have ever thought it?
Right at around that pit window. And again, Barnes had come onto pit road to get in his stop. And that will be a disadvantage. I don't think any of the other riders in that top group, with the exception maybe of Narbonne, will be double checking.
All the riders up and okay. He's being checked over by the medical personnel, but that's a good sight, Pat. The motorcycle laying, steaming, streaming smoke out of it as it lays there on the infield grass, but the rider is up and okay, being checked by the medical staff. And of course, anytime you take a tumble like that, they will want to check you over very, very thoroughly. So the medical personnel on scene, and they instantly go with the transport to check him out. But he appeared to be okay. It's the number 96 machine, Pat, that had that problem there in the fast left-hander.
Brett Molnar, the Honda rider out of Clemens, North Carolina, the Twin City Racing entry. So Molnar on the number 86 machine. See where he had been running here. I think somewhere just outside of the top 20, and then hits the ground here in the infield. But always a good sign, Rich, when that rider is able to walk into the ambulance after taking a pretty hard tumble over there. So now they will get a running order based on where these riders were running before the red flag, revert back to the last fully completed lap for the field, and then base the starting grid for the restart on that running order. So we'll see exactly where they go back to here. Michael Barnes still being shown as the leader, as they're going to go back to lap number 18, it looks like, and grid them based on that. That'll have Barnes on the pole along with May and then Ferris to complete the front row. So restart coming up here in the Daytona 200 after a monumental battle. There's Michael Barnes. All that hard work opened up that 5-second advantage, and all for naught as the race gets red flag as a result of the crasher in the infield by the number 96 machine, Brett Molnar, Clemens, North Carolina rider on that Honda. Good news is that he was up and okay. They're up on the big screen. We see the 34, rider number 34, Yamaha, Michael Barnes, as he gets a little liquid refreshment, but he knows he's going to have to get back out there and do it again. That motorcycle, when you put it on the ground in that fast left-hander, you really do twist up the motorcycle, and they're using a forklift to pick that motorcycle up and get it into the back of one of the pickup trucks to deposit it here in the garage area. But tough afternoon for rider number 96, Brett Molnar, after hitting the ground there in the fast left-hander. He had been running, I think, back outside of the top 30. Let's update a couple of situations for you. John Ashmead making his 33rd start in the Daytona 200, 24th at the end, although he had gone down a lap. 24th was where he was being shown in the rundown. But again, John Ashmead with enough laps and miles that he becomes the all-time Daytona 200 by victory mileage leader here at Daytona. Two women made the starting field for the Daytona 200. Patricia Fernandez, currently being shown in 18th position. Her best lap got into the minute and 56s earlier in the race, so she continues to have a solid run here. Was still running on the lead lap. And also the young lady originally from Poland, Kat Zimpel, number 186, 37th in the rundown. She is a lap down as well. And of course, out of the running earlier in the afternoon, Mark Dickerson, I believe he had some kind of a mechanical, brought it onto pit road. Wade Boyd, 273, just 15 laps when he went out. And then early in the race, Brett Ray on bike number 38 retired, as is 13 Corey West on that Heiser Cycle Honda. And Christopher Knopf, number 31, he crashed out in the chicane very early in the race. Let's check in with Rich Chambers. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, I just checked in with our ASRA officials, and it's open game. You can do anything you want during the red flag, so all those riders who had not come onto pit road, they'll be able to get a full tank of fuel and fresh tires on. And Mikey Barnes getting that pit stop practice in, I guess, and with them reverting back one lap, he'll still be on the front of the starting grid. But again, an interesting start to this event. Now, if you take anything from this first thing, I think you would say that don't let Michael Barnes get away. And I think that they're going to be a little bit more intent about staying with Barnes. The tires, I was really impressed with the lap times, Pat. They were still turning very high 150s, very low 151s, and very low 152s. So again, the actual lap times did not drop off that much. I was going to try to get a look at one of the tires. I'll try to get down to Barnes's pit and see what the tire looked like that came off of that machine, but that very well could be the tail here today. There's a little bit of overcast. A lot of people were thinking it was going to be bright and sunny, but it is just a little bit cloudy, and that might be favoring one tire brand or the other. We've got three tire brands here this race weekend with Michelin, Pirelli, and Dunlop. And right now it's a Dunlop-Pirelli scrap that's going on, and right now Pirelli with the lead, but it's still a long, long way to the end. We'll have to get this thing back underway, and there will still be at least one more complete fuel and tire stop before we wrap this thing up, Matt. But down here along pit lane, the crews and riders getting an opportunity to work on the machine, and we're going to try to get a copy of the results as soon as that gets down here. Of course, they will pass it out to the teams, and that's what we'll use to get the starting grid organized. So right now that's being formulated, and it should be coming here shortly. Pat?
Well, two riders who will really benefit from the red flag situation. The 683 machine, Ryan Jones on that Kawasaki. Remember, he started 50th after having problems in the qualifier yesterday. In the qualifying sessions, was put at the back of the grid, charged all the way up into 10th. So now he's going to be on the inside of row 4 as opposed to being all the way back on row 17 for the restart. So keep an eye on Ryan Jones. He's had lap times in the minute 54s. And again, he's going to have to find some further time there, because the pace up front for the most part was a minute 51, a minute 52, depending on how much traffic you were encountering out there on the racetrack. Michael Barnes able to put together a string of minute 51-second lap times, and that is how he was able to open up almost a 5-second gap on Jeff May. Wyatt Ferris, number 19, this young rider from Calistoga, California, has been doing a whale of a job. He will start third across that front row. And also Jason Farrell, he had a moment at the chicane, as we saw there on fanschoice.tv, when he got the Kawasaki out onto the grass. The bike was right out of shape. He was able to pull it back under control and continue. So the Oshkosh, Wisconsin rider Jason Farrell, who was fourth at the end of lap 18, will start inside row 2, along with the 64 machine of Shane Narbonne, who will be in the middle of the row, and then Mark Heckles on the number 45 machine will start outside row 2. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, let me jump in and have a word with Ryan Jones, a fresh deal of the cards, Ryan.
Oh, man, like I said, we were starting in the back, but I thought we had the speed to come to the front, and we got to 10th and ran there for a couple laps, and I had to come in for fuel. And they red flagged it perfect for us, because now it bunches us back up, and it's kind of like a fresh start from where we've been all weekend. And got to thank everybody from Frisco Tap House. They've been busting their ass all weekend, really for the past 3 months to get me ready, and we'll see what happens.
All right, buddy, go have a good ride. He gets a fresh deal of the cards. He'll be starting on second or third row, Pat. Let's talk to the new man at the top of the mileage and laps completed here at John Ashmead. Congratulations, buddy. You made history today.
Thank you, Richard. I was trying not to look at the leaderboard to see which lap I was on, so I was counting them down in my head, but I finally had to look. And as soon as I saw lap 11, I go, all right, let's try to turn it up a little bit. But by then the tire was falling off. But I want to thank Brady Racing and Larry and Paul Swimmer, I mean, everybody that's helped, and CCS for just running just such a professional series. I mean, they made things so easy. I want to thank them for all their hard work.
All right, John Ashmead, we want to thank you for all of your efforts over the years, and again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
John Ashmead, the new mileage and lap leader in the Daytona 200. Here being congratulated by his level 10 Peter Brady crew here. A big cheer went up. He's sitting here taking a little bit of a break. He'll be ready to go back out when we get this thing back underway. Pat?
Well, looks like all of the cleanup has been done there in the dogleg area, the infield, as we are just about set very shortly here to roll these riders back up onto the racetrack, get them out there for the warm-up lap, and then we will be set to go as we look at one of the crashes from earlier, very early in the race. That is the 31 machine of Christopher Knopf, the Wakefield Mass rider on the Liberty Chevrolet Zero Gravity Yamaha, putting it on the ground in the chicane. And then there was one other rider involved. I believe that was the number 230 machine that was also out here very early. The rider from France, Cedric Tangre, the 2015 French Supersport champion, was also an early retiree from the event. Both of those riders going down very early in the Daytona 200 as we look at the video replay on fanschoice.tv. Pat Gonzalez and Richard Chambers live here at Daytona International Speedway as we're under a red flag situation as a result of a crash in the infield here by the number 96 machine of Brett Molnar, the Clemens, North Carolina rider on the Honda. Let's go back on pit road and check in with Richard Chambers for an update.
Yeah, Pat, I think that crosswind in the infield may have had a little helping advantage to getting the number 96 machine offline there, but the motorcycle is a mess. And again, as you said, they needed a forklift to move it. The rear wheel was all askew, wheel bent, front end all twisted and mangled. Reminds me of the time back in 1974 when Aido Kanaya created a motorcycle whirlwind in that same corner. It was on the front of the Daytona Beach Journal, the race morning, and again, just an incredible place to get off, and we were glad to see him when he finally stood up and went and was checked by the medical facility staff, who were immediately on scene. And again, thanks to all of our emergency workers and all the pickup teams and the personnel who make such a fine place like this to come and race. So again, thanks a bunch for all of the efforts. And hey, while we've got a moment, let's thank our Daytona safety crew. They are out there very early in the morning before any of us get here just about, and they're there till the very end of the day. They are a very dedicated crew, and they really are observant. They watch the motorcycles. If they note a problem or understand that there might be a situation with a bike, they have their own little race clock going in their head, and each of the individuals, they feel like that track part that they are assigned to for that weekend is their part of the racetrack, and they treat it like home and try to make it as safe as possible for all of the competitors. We're just about through with our cleanup over there, and very shortly I suspect the running order will be delivered out onto pit lane. Pat?
Well, indeed, the motorcycles being prepped. Looks like most of the riders starting to get their helmets on, gloves on. So I would think very shortly now the signals will go out here on pit road to prepare to roll those motorcycles back out here in preparation for the restart. They'll give them the 5 board, and then once that 5 board comes out, they'll head out on their official warm-up lap. Michael Barnes looks like he's about to climb on that number 34 Prieto Performance Palm Beach Police Foundation Pirelli shod machine, able to turn those consistent laps there at 1:51, able to open up almost a 5-second gap on that chasing quartet of Jeff May 99, Wyatt Ferris 19, Jason Farrell 86, and Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha. But again, there's some other riders who, with the red flag situation here, might be able to get up there and join that front-running group of 5. Mark Heckles, 45. Bruno Silva, number 6. Stefano Mesa certainly had the pace in qualifying here yesterday. Boston Skubik, 74. And, of course, Ryan Jones all the way from that back row, charging up into 10th when the race was red flag. So riders back out on their warm-up lap as they work their way back on around. The 5 board will be displayed here to the riders, and once they come back here, as we did for the original start, we'll get into the 4-3-2, and then once that 1 board goes sideways, look for the green flag to come out anytime within the next couple of seconds. So 5 board on the field. As soon as they get back here, they'll show that 4 board and then count it on down. So lots of different stories developing here this afternoon. We've got John Ashmead with the brand new Daytona 200 by Victory mileage record. John Ashmead, as we said, he had his Daytona 200 championship back in 1989. That was another monumental battle that year with a lot of privateers. Most of the factories not here that year, and it was Ashmead with the win. Also looking here at one of the riders who at 66 years of age came out here, Arthur Koetz, just to see where he might be starting here in this one. Rich, 66 years of age, and had a pretty good run in qualifying. He was actually 38th when that race was red flagged. He was a lap down, but Arthur Koetz at 66 years young, out here battling with some of these riders who are over 40 years younger than he is. and doing a pretty good run here. His best lap so far in the event on that number 179 machine was a 2-minute 2.124, and I think that might be even a little quicker than he qualified out here yesterday. So riders rolling back in as the countdown continues. The front three riders are in position. Michael Barnes 34, Jeff May 99, and 19 Wyatt Ferris across the front row. Then the second row will have Jason Farrell as we wait for him to roll up there on the inside of row 2. And then it will be Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha. And now Mark Heckles on the 45 machine. The Brooklyn, New York rider rolls in there aboard that Yamaha. And here comes Farrell on the Kawasaki. So everybody on the R6 Yamahas, with the exception of Farrell, on that Kawasaki as the countdown board goes to 3. Let's go to Richard Chambers for the restart.
Okay, Pat, field in place here. Everybody settling in. Everybody all the way up through the grid now appears to be in position as the clipboards go up in the air. Still a 3 board showing to the field, so they're still trying to get everybody exactly in place. Now the 2 board comes up. Engines start to rev. They plug them in gear. 1 board up. Sign sideways, green flag. Drag race to turn number 1. Again, Michael Barnes drills the start, but Jeff May gets a great launch as well. Here's a second wave. Barnes with the advantage. Looks like Jason Farrell might have stuffed his way through to second, Pat.
Indeed, he just swapped right around the front wheel there of Jeff May. So it is Barnes on the number 34 machine jumping out in front. Farrell on the Kawasaki second. May ran a little bit wide there in third, 19. That is the Wyatt Ferris machine, runs in the 4th place spot. And I think it might have been Bruno Silva who got up there to grab the 5th place position as they work down to that West Horseshoe turn. And right now there are about 10 riders up in that lead pack as they work off of the West Horseshoe and on the short chute, about to work through the left-hander here at turn number 6 to go out onto the back straightaway. Indeed, front-running 10 riders locked together as they go to the west banking here on what will be lap number 19 after they reverted back to lap 18 for the last fully completed lap for the field. Off of turn 2 of the super speedway, they begin to run down that 3,000-foot back straightaway. Headed for the chicane, Michael Barnes trying to put his head down and pull the breakaway, but Jason Farrell will not let him get away. Farrell closing on that Kawasaki to within about 3 or 4 bike lengths now as they go to the west banking. The Prieto Performance Yamaha rider, Michael Barnes, by about 3-4 bike lengths. Farrell on the Kawasaki picks up the benefit of the draft, closest to within just a couple of bike lengths, tucked right in now. Will he pull out, go for the lead as they come back to the line here to complete lap number 1, and he does get it done. They are short.
Pat, that thing's got some steam on the banking. Just a perfect drafting pass down to the low side by Jason Farrell. Pat?
Meatball flag, Rich, out for one of the riders here. I think it might be a jump start. That is going to be a stop and go. And I think it was one of the riders who was towards the tail end of the field. They're still showing the number board out here down below. It's at the finish stripe. Meanwhile, on the infield straightaway, Farrell able to get around Barnes. He'll lead him down through the fast left-hander. That chasing group of 8, just a little bit of a gap back to third, but they'll close it up. Wyatt Ferris, number 19, was in third here at the end of lap 19. Jeff May, 4th. The number 6 machine, Bruno Silva. Then Ryan Jones on 683 all the way up into 6th. 7th is 64, Shane Narbonne. 8th is 45, Mark Heckles. 9th is 371, Stefano Mesa. In 10th is Bastian Skubik. So Skubik is the last rider in that freight train of 10 motorcycles as they exit out of the infield and work to the west banking. Again, this is a great run for 683, Ryan Jones in 6th. Rich, remember back to 1975, there's a young rider out of Venezuela by the name of Johnny Sacato who started right in the back, came all the way through to grab a third place finish behind Gene Romero, and a year later Sacato won the Daytona 200 here at the Speedway. They work off of turn number 4 off the super speedway as they work back here to the line, and we've got one rider rolling into the pits here early off of the original start as the lead pair up across the line, and Barnes had retaken the lead as they complete lap number 20. Wyatt Ferris 19th, third, 99 Jeff May 4th, and Ryan Jones holding on to that 5th place position.
Yeah, Pat, still a couple of bike lengths separating those two lead machines, and it looks like Farrell has made it his business to stay close to Michael Barnes. They are inching away slightly from 3rd place. Wyatt Ferris, they are riding a great ride, and they are slowly pulling away of Jeff May. I don't know if Jeff May is just coasting and riding or what, but then there's a good little 6-rider battle going on right behind them just now to the west, so Horseshoe, and they have continued to swap positions back and forth. We'll give you a running order each and every time they come by, and before they get to the Horseshoe, it's changed again to the left-hander, up onto the banking. Still Mikey Barnes with Jason Farrell shadowing him, trying to use the draft, and anytime he can get close enough to Barnes, he can pull a pretty good slingshot act with that Kawasaki. It's got some great speed in the draft. Right now he starts to pick up the draft off of Barnes's machine. He'll blow by to take the lead. Jason Farrell, who last year built a junkyard motor in the pit area, ran with the lead pack, came in here this year, built some rocket ships, and right now he leads the 75th running of the Daytona 200 out of the chicane. Pat?
Well, it looks like Barnes somehow got back around, or maybe that bid by Farrell for the lead was turned aside. But it is that number 34 Prieto Performance West Palm Beach Police Foundation sponsored machine of Michael Barnes leading the way. Here comes Wyatt Ferris. He's going to try to pick up the double draft as they work back to the line. Farrell up on the high side aboard the Kawasaki will grab the lead. Michael Barnes on the number 34 machine in second. Third is Wyatt Ferris, and there is Jeff May, number 99. He has been able to close up on the rest of the riders. Jeff May with a lap at a minute 51.036. That is his fastest lap of the race, and it's moved them right into contention here. This front-running quartet out of the International Horseshoe Turn and on the infield straightaway. It is the Kawasaki of Jason Farrell, the Oshkosh, Wisconsin rider, leading them through the dogleg. Michael Barnes, 34 in second. Wyatt Ferris in third, and then it is Jeff May, number 99, in fourth. And the rider leading that next chasing group is Shane Narbonne on the number 64 machine. The TOBC Yamaha rider has got 5 other riders with him. That is positions 5 all the way through 10th, where Mark Heckles is running in that 10th place position. Let's take you a little bit further back. 11th is 29 Barrett Long. 12th is 411 Daniel Spalding. 13th is 229 Darren James. 14th is 15 Chris Skellinger. In 15th is 94 Justin Holderman. 16th is 84 Anthony Fania. 17th 484 Joseph Giannotto. 18th is 926 Patricia Fernandez. 19th is 77 Mark Rhodes, and 20th is 787 Michael Hanau. Rich?
Big wheelie by Michael Barnes, accelerating out of the chicane here. Again, just Barney being Barney. And right now, as they work their way up to the top end portion of the racetrack, again, Jason Farrell starts to draw a bead on the number 34 machine again. He'll charge alongside. Wheel to wheel they race. That's opening a big hole in the air for Ferris as they come to the stripe. Both Ferris and Jeff May are right there now. Here comes that war for 5th place, Pat. 6 riders all over the racetrack. Shane Narbonne with Mesa all over him. There's Stubik in the middle of it as well. What great racing back in the back part of the top 10.
Indeed, they continue to shuffle that order up front. That is one quick Kawasaki. And Farrell, if this one comes down to a chicane to checkered flag dash on the last lap, Farrell looks like he's got a motorcycle that's certainly capable of winning. The front-running quartet worked through the fast left-hander. down to the West Horseshoe. That green number 86, Farrell Performance Kawasaki leading the 34. Prieto Performance Yamaha in second and 19. Wyatt Ferris third, and the pole sitter, our ride pole sitter for the Daytona 200, number 99, Jeff May in fourth. And that chasing pack continues to go back and forth. Bastian Skubik, number 74, had moved up into that fifth place position. 64, Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha into sixth. Seventh was the number 6 machine of Bruno Silva.
Yeah, and also Stefano Mesa mixed into that group as well. Meanwhile, on the back straightaway, Barnes moving up to challenge Farrell on the brakes. Barnes is really good on the brakes, and he's going to have to come up with a plan. Earlier it was run away and hide, but he showed his whole card too soon, and now everybody knows his plan, and they're not going to let him get away. They work their way off of the east banking. 4 riders hung up in a nose-to-tail draft as they work off a NASCAR 4 and come back to the stripe. This is the most strung out they've been since the restart, Pat. And again, it's Farrell who is really riding hard out in front. Michael Barnes being challenged there by Ferris into turn number 1. Barnes lets off the brakes and just coasts into turn 1, right on the tailpiece of Farrell. As they work their way through, he makes it through. Barnes with the pass there has taken back over the lead. Pat, just unbelievable trip through turn 1, and it's Barney back out in front.
Indeed, Michael Barnes will bring those riders off of the International Horseshoe on the infield straightaway, and that bike has got either the perfect gearing coming off that corner, because he opens up about 5 or 6 bike lengths here on the Farrell Kawasaki. Wyatt Ferris, Calistoga, California rider, under pressure now from Jeff May, number 99, as May for the moment content to sit there just about half a second separating the front running 4 riders as they're about to clear out of the infield and head to the west banking. Meanwhile, the race for the rest of the positions there in the top 10 with Bastian Skubik 74, leading 64 Shane Narbonne, who is 6th. 7th, the number 6 machine of Bruno Silva. 45, Mark Heckles in 8th. 371, Stefano Mesa in 9th. And then Ryan Jones in 10th, but Jones has lost contact with those other riders inside of the top 10 as they work down the back straightaway into the chicane and out of it again. 34, Michael Barnes showing the way, and here comes Farrell on the number 86 machine. But again, Barnes, as he did earlier, Rich, just seems to put his head down. He scrubbed them off a little bit in the infield and now has broken the draft as they work off of turn number 4, the Super Speedway. Wyatt Ferris and Jeff May side by side for third, but it'll be Barnes, the leader, as they work up across the line and into turn 1. In fact, Wyatt Ferris has gone to second, May is third, and Farrell got shuffled all the way back into the 4th place position. So shuffled to deck on lap number 24 as they work back to that International Horseshoe turn. Wyatt Ferris trying to close it up here on Michael Barnes, a nice tight inside line, and they accelerate out onto that infield straightaway. Jeff May now up into 3rd, and the Kawasaki of Farrell drops back into 4th. A big gap back to the war that's going on here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. They're side by side, and I believe Bruno Silva now has moved around Bastian Skubik to grab the 5th place spot. Skubik in 6th. Narbonne, number 64, in 7th, and 45, Heckles is 8th. Stefano Mesa, 371 at the tail end of that group of 5 inside of the top 10, and then 683, Ryan Jones is back in that 10th place position, but he is about 7 seconds back of that 5-rider group that's battling inside of the top 10. Still 29, Barrett Long on the Ducati in 11th, 229, Darren James up to 12th after starting 29th. 411, Daniel Spaulding in 13th. 14th is 15, Chris Skellinger, and Joseph Giannato, number 484, in the 15th place spot. Rich?
Yeah, well, Barnes really did a good trip through the infield that time, and he has padded his advantage just a little bit. Not quite enough to get away from Ferris, though, as they work their way up onto the east banking and head back here towards start finish. Again, they're starting to pick up some little pieces of traffic here and there. Barnes using the draft off the traffic as slingshots by start finish. Ferris hits the traffic just as he hits the stripe. Now Jeff May around the outside of that slower piece of traffic, and something's wrong with Farrell. Jason Farrell rolling off the track there in turn one, Pat. He had been running in fourth place, but Jason Farrell appears to have a problem. He circles back toward the track entry, but it looks like a problem for Jason Farrell. Pat?
Well, indeed, Rich, he had dropped back. There was about 2 seconds back of the lead pack, and it looks as though he is off the motorcycle. He's leaned it up against the wall there, so the Oshkosh, Wisconsin rider, who had a great run here in qualifying yesterday, was part of the lead battle throughout here this afternoon, but it looks like he will go to the sidelines here on lap number 26. So just shy of the halfway point. So now it is 3 riders up front, everybody on the R6 Yamahas, as they're about to exit out of the infield and head up to that west banking. Barnes, 34, your leader, followed by Wyatt Ferris, and then Jeff May, number 99, your front 3. Everybody behind that front 3 are now going to move up a spot. Rich?
Yeah, Arthur Kowitz back there in 47th position, the oldest rider ever to campaign in the Daytona 200, and he has just set that record. Now we'll see where he finishes. Look at this herd down the back straightaway for that fourth place position now, Pat. It is still a great little fight. Bruno Silva battling there with Ryan Jones and 3 other riders. They just now leave the chicane on a tight draft, waiting for Barnes, who has continued to add just a couple of bike lengths here and there, but now the pack more intent on chasing him. Ferris dragging the number 99 machine along with him. They'll go side by side, and Jeff May gets the draft off the Ferris machine. He will take over second place and close to within a couple of bike lengths of the race leader. Pat?
Well, that pace up front continues hot. Laps everybody up front there in the minute 51s. Here's your front-running trio, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the International Horseshoe Turn at the east end of the infield, and on the infield straightaway it is Barnes, 34, Jeff May, 99, and the 19 of Wyatt Ferris down through the left-hander. There were 10 riders early after the restart. That split up into a 4 and 6 rider pack for the top 10, and now just 3 riders up in that lead group. New 4th place rider is 74, Bastian Skubik. 5th is 6, Bruno Silva. 6th is the 45 machine of Mark Heckles. 7th is 64, Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha. Stefano Mesa, 371 and 8. 9th is 681, Ryan Jones. 29, Barrett Long on the Longevity Racing Ducati is 10th, and Darren James on the 229 machine all the way up into 11th after starting 29th. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, watching these top 3 riders running in close formation, and again, as they start to pick their way through traffic, it always is the rider who is out in front that has the chance to dictate the pace. He will put the pass on the rider, and then hopefully he can spook him into the path of the riders behind him or scrub him off in the draft or something. I'm not saying Mikey Barnes would do that, but this is a definite opportunity. Of course, you can get the other side of the lap traffic and you get held up badly. Barnes had a couple of sessions like that a little bit earlier on. But again, these top 3 machines now working up across start finish. Here goes Jeff May trying the inside line on Barnes. Ooh, he gets squeezed just a little bit. Barnes give him just enough room. Jeff May drops in behind him, but May had a notion down on the inside. Pat?
And Wyatt Ferris, Richard, who got hung up in the chicane with a slower rider and had dropped about 2 seconds back, was able to close here as they work on the infield straightaway. Barnes, 34, still your leader, running at the point. 99, Jeff May in second. Again, they'll dispose of another slower rider. There goes Wyatt Ferris around the slow man to the West Horseshoe, and he's closed it right back up. So these front-running 3 riders continue to go at it. Then we're watching that other monumental battle here in the top 10. Bastian Skubik making his 16th Daytona 200 start, having a whale of a ride here in 4th. Bruno Silva, number 6, is part of that battle. He is 5th. 6th is 45, Mark Heckles. 7th is 371, Stefano Mesa. 8th is 64, Shane Narbonne. 9th, 683, Ryan Jones. And still rounding out the top 10 is the 29 machine of Barrett Long. That's like, take a look, Patricia Fernandez all the way up into 14th as she continues to turn in a solid ride here this afternoon, as does Anthony Fania, number 84. He is 16th at the moment. John Ashmead inside of the top 20, the 1989 Daytona 200 champion in his 33rd start in the Daytona 200, has climbed inside of the top 20. He is running 19th at the moment. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, off of the east banking, they roll. And again, this Barnes chased by the number 99 machine. And again, Ferris doing a good job of making up the distance he caught. Here's Jeff May practicing for that last lap slingshot. He'll take the lead and dive down into turn number 1. Barnes gets a little out of shape there as Jeff May virtually pulled it right across his front wheel. That wasn't very nice. He holds the lead down to turn number 3. Here comes Barnes and May diving under some traffic. They'll push the traffic wide, and Ferris is able to duck through on the inside as well. So again, things are getting a little tense here as we work up toward lap number 30. That was Jeff May's idea of, here in your face, I got the lead now, here I go, off to the West Horseshoe. Michael Barnes will file that one in his memory back, I'm sure, for a little bit later on. Meanwhile, Boston Stubik, a great ride. He is pulled clear now from Stubik, from the number 6 machine Silva, and that whole freight train is still locked together there in the West Horseshoe. Pat?
Well, they're going around a slower rider down there, Rich. Also on that last lap, Wyatt Ferris, number 19, had the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 50.863, a minute 50.863 for this young rider from Calistoga, California, who continues to turn in a whale of a ride on that trackside suspension and engineering Yamaha. The only rider to put a lap at a minute 50 up on the board, so he's certainly got the speed. He does not have the experience of a Jeff May or a Michael Barnes, but this talented rider doing a whale of a job here this afternoon. And then watching that 5-rider scrap that's going on for positions elsewhere in the top 10. And at last count, it was Bruno Silva, number 6, who had moved up into 4th. Bastian Skubik, 74, was rounding out the top 5. Here comes Barnes, 34, back up across the line in traffic as they peel off into turn number 1. So Barnes has retaken the lead here as they complete lap number 29. So just past the halfway point, Jeff May, 99, and Wyatt Ferris, just about a half a second separating those 3 riders as they work back to the International Horseshoe. That one rider moves out of the way and will allow the front-running trio back onto the infield straightaway here on the north end of Lake Lloyd as they work by the big grandstand through the fast left-hander. The 3 Yamaha riders continue to hammer at each other here on lap number 30 of a scheduled 57 in the Daytona 200. Rich?
Out of turn number 3, Silva all over the back tire of Stubik. Also, the rest of that pack there in tight formation. It's now a 5-rider freight train battling over that 4th place position as they work to the West Horseshoe. Meanwhile, Barnes heads up onto the banking as they work up onto the banking and again up to speed. It appears that Barnes has a better gear coming out of the infield, Pat. He'll always jump them just a little bit, but it looks like that the other machine of Jeff May has a little bit better gearing, but the last time across start finish, they were screaming those Yamahas up 16,500 RPM as they came to the line. The wind still whipping out of the south, still not helping or hurting on the straightaway, but I'm sure they feel it in the infield. Leaders in the east banking. Pat?
Rich, I believe that number 230 machine, Cedric Tondra, after that red flag, he of course crashed out early at the chicane along with 31 Christopher Knopf. He did go back out there. He has now turned a total of 12 laps, but is being posted all the way down in 48. So he's going to get his laps in here, but I don't think he has any chance of cracking the top 30 or 40 here this afternoon. But the French 2015 Super Sport champion is back out there on that number 230 machine. after crashing out earlier. So either they have made repairs or have gone to some kind of a backup motorcycle. Working lap number 31. And again, it was just a second separating those front-running 3 riders at the end of lap number 30. Michael Barnes to the West Horseshoe. Rich?
Oh, Stubby gets held up badly. They nearly ram one slower rider. The whole 5-rider pack shuffles by them there in turn 3. Desperate stuff back there in the battle for 4th place. Meanwhile, up front, Barnes with his head down. He's trying to accomplish an escape act here as he approaches just about the same distance on his tires that he had before. We'll check the lap times, but Ferris with that low 150 lap time has actually got him back in the ball game. The question is, can he pull another 150 out of his hat, because he continually gets the bad card in traffic. He's got hung up a couple of times in the chicane and had to really do some serious riding just to stay back and get on to even terms with these riders, Pat. And again, Barnes just a real good gear off of the infield. We'll see how it stacks up here at start-finish, as he has added just a little bit more, I think, to his advantage as they come back to the stripe. Pat?
Richard, a total of 16 riders are running on the lead lap here at the moment. Anthony Fania, number 84, the last of the riders on the lead lap as they go through. Barnes, number 34, will put lap 31 up on the board. May and Ferris go through, and again, it's still just about a second separating these 3 riders, as again they'll have to deal with some traffic on the short chute coming to the International Horseshoe turn. Wyatt Ferris will stuff it in on the inside, and there you go, 15 bike lengths separating the front running 3 riders on the infield straightaway. And this young California rider, Richard, I think is going to school here on Barnes and May. We'll see how this one plays out. We have at least one more scheduled stop, because when that red flag came out, it was right around the start of the pit window. Of course, they would have refueled and gone out with a full tank of fuel. They did have the warm-up lap, and now can they go for one stop somewhere around lap 37 or 38 and make it all the way to the checkered flag? But right now, just 16 riders running on that lead lap at the moment. And updating, Patricia Fernandez, one of the riders on the lead lap, she is in 14th. And Mark Rhodes, 77, 13th. And 229, Darren James going across the line here. He is in 11th as they work their way back on around.
Yeah, Pat, good job by the rookie expert there, Mark Rhodes there, and Patricia Fernandez, another fabulous ride, turned in last year. She put it in the 16th, a little bit better than that this year. They are dealing with more and more traffic as they work their way back to the stripe. Again, the Barnes using the draft off of the machines that he is encountering, but they're getting a little bit quicker each and every time into turn 1. It's Jeff Bay trying to stuff it down on the inside of traffic. Ferris has to take the long way around. He'll get it done. Only about 3 bike lengths behind Jeff Bay. He'll pull it right in line behind the other 2 riders in that front trio. Here's Barnes trying to pick his way through. Has to wait his turn. He's held up. Jeff Bay right on his tailpiece, accelerating off the corner. Finally, Barnes jumps inside and grabs the position from the lap rider, but that held him up. And now it's a real tight pack for the lead. Pat?
They were lapping the French 2015 Super Sport champion there, Cedric Tangre, on that number 230 machine, who is out there turning laps at 1:56 and change. But these riders up front are going about 5 seconds quicker. There is Michael Barnes, 34. He'll just stuff it on the inside. That bike moving around just a little bit as he got on the power to accelerate out of the infield and up to the west banking. Michael Barnes here on lap number 33. And again, the window, Rich, I think is going to come up somewhere around lap 36, 37, maybe 38, depending on how they've calculated their fuel mileage as they work down the back straightaway. May, number 99, parked right there in second. And Wyatt Ferris, who has the fastest lap of the race at 1:50.825, is right there in that third place position. He appears when he needs it able to find just a little bit more steam, but for the moment he's content to sit there in that third place position. But the front running three riders have had to deal with quite a bit of traffic. Looking at that battle that's continuing for the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. There they were. Jeff May goes into the lead as they hit the stripe here. 33 laps up on the board. Michael Barnes tries to tuck it inside as May got a little bit wide there in turn number one. And Michael Barnes has gone back into the point position. Jeff May closes into the International Horseshoe. Those riders peel off, a slower rider just ahead of them, and they're going to try to go by here on the infield straightaway. 33 laps completed for the race leader. 6, Bruno Silva is up into that fourth place spot. Shane Narbonne in fifth. Sixth is 45, Mark Heckles. Seventh is 74, Bastian Skubik. Eighth is 371, Stefano Mesa. Ninth, 683, Ryan Jones. And running out the top 10 is still the 29 machine of Barrett Long, as that five-way fight is absolutely a barn burner for positions 4 all the way back through 9 or 8. Stefano Mesa is the last of the riders in that group that's fighting it out for positions 4 on back. Meanwhile, up front, Michael Barnes and Jeff May continue to go at it. Barney, who lost the lead coming up across the stripe here at the end of lap 33. Looks like he has gone back out in front.
Yeah, Pat, and he got a good lead coming out of the infield. He gets a real good drive. We saw him wiggle just a little bit a couple of laps ago, but that's only because he is on the gas, trying to get a little bit of cushion. The last time when Jeff May got into his draft, he was able to blow by. Now May might be practicing for later on in the event and finding out exactly what kind of distance he can make up there late in the event. So as they work their way through the event, they will continue to feel out each other's presence and find out exactly how fast they can go and how much draft distance they can make up in a run out of the chicane back here to the start finish. Meanwhile, they will work their way through traffic, and still Barnes with the advantage. He has a perfect line through turn 3. Ferris now up ahead of Jeff May. Wyatt Ferris up into second place. May dropped back to third. I don't know if he had a moment or what, Pat, but suddenly he's lost touch with Michael Barnes.
Well, they were able Ferris was able to draft past them here coming up across the stripe and then hold them off going back into the infield. But for the moment, Michael Barnes with about a 8/10 of a second lead, just opening up a little bit of daylight. Again, we're coming up to the start of the pit window where they're going to have to come onto pit road for fuel and tires. And then depending on their calculations, Rich, hopefully they can go all the way to the checkered flag here at the end of 57 laps. Right now, the front-running 3 riders off at turn number 2 of the Super Speedway. They begin the run down the back straightaway. Bruno Silva, number 6 in 4th. 64, Shane Narbonne is 5th. The 74 machine, Bastian Skubik up into 6th. 45, Mark Heckles is 7th. 8th is 371, Stefano Mesa. 9th is 29, Barrett Long, or 9th is 683, Ryan Jones. And 10th is Barrett Long, number 29. Here come your front running 3 riders. And Rich coming through the infield. They're going to have to deal with a whole bunch of traffic as they're about to put lap number 35 in the books, and they'll have just 22 to go. Next time by, there's Barnes, there's Wyatt Ferris, and then there is Jeff May. 8/10 of a second separating the front-running 3 riders as they work back into the infield, having disposed of a couple of other back markers. And I think right now we're up to Anthony Fania will be the last rider still here on the lead lap aboard that number 84 machine. So at the pace they're turning, we're probably going to have something less than 10 riders at the end of this running on the lead lap. But right now, the front-running trio works the infield straightaway down to that West Horseshoe. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, you know, they calculate exactly how much gas it takes to fill up the tank, so they'll know how much gas they burn. They have a specific amount of gas in the quick fill, and then they top the tank off with that, and then they measure the amount of gas left in the actual fill tank, and that'll give them an idea about how far they can go. And you're right, when window of opportunity is coming up here very shortly. We saw before most of the teams were going to go for 19 laps for their first pit stop. Barney came in a little bit early there for his pit stop, and you have to wonder exactly how long they're going to push the envelope here. It's coming up on a pit stop time for these riders here very shortly. Pat?
Michael Barnes, 34, into the chicane, having to deal with one piece of traffic, pulls a little wheelie as he works at 31-degree east banking. Then it is the machines of Wyatt Ferris, 19, and Jeff May, 99, trying to work around the slower riders here at the east end of the Speedway. And this time by, it'll be 36 laps about to go up on the board in the 75th Daytona 200 by Victory. There's Barnes up across the stripe. Wyatt Ferris right there in second. And then it is the Jeff May machine, number 99, in third. And again, as they work back into the infield here, there is a pack of slower riders. Some of these being lapped now for the second time here this afternoon as they carve their way into the International Horseshoe Turn. Barnes goes through. Here comes Wyatt Ferris on the infield straightaway. He'll try to get around that rider before he gets to the dog leg, and he does. But then Jeff May gets hung up behind the machine, has to roll off for just a moment. Now he'll stuff him down on the inside to stay right with Wyatt Ferris, number 19, as they work off of the West Horseshoe Turn. And on the short chute, working lap number 37, next time by, we'll have just 20 laps to go in this 75th Daytona 200 by Victory. Michael Barnes, the Boca Raton, Florida rider, aboard that Prieto Performance machine with sponsorship as well from the Palm Beach Police Foundation. And he has just turned in a whale of a ride here this afternoon, but this one a long, long way from over. We still have at least one final pit stop to go for fuel and tires to get these riders home to the checkered flag.
What an impressive ride by Wyatt Ferris. The Calistoga, California rider has really gone to school the last few laps on the lines of Jeff May and Michael Barnes, and he's putting them to good use. He is inching back closer to Michael Barnes after he got hung up in traffic just a little bit, but Barney always just a little bit in reserve, I'm sure, as they come back here to start finish. Again, Jeff May struggling to maintain contact with this front group as they top two roll to the stripe. There's May, who has lost now almost a second and a half to this lead pair, who are only about 6 or 8 bike lengths apart. But oh, more bad cards in traffic for Ferris in turn one. It looks like Barnes has scrubbed him off just a little bit. Let's see if that works out. I think he got him scrubbed off a little bit. Barnes stuffing his way through traffic, Pat. Really just a demon in traffic. And Barnes has padded his cushion there in turn three.
Well, indeed, Barnes, with all of his experience here at Daytona, Richard, is just carving his way through the back markers. Both Jeff May and Wyatt Ferris appear to be having a little bit more difficulty getting around some of the other riders here on the racetrack. Bruno Silva, number 6, having a great ride here in 4th. Bastian Skubik back up into 5th, 371. Stefano Mesa in 6th. 7th is 64. Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha. 8th is 45. Mark Heckles. And they're part of that great 5-way battle that's going on for positions 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then it is 683, Ryan Jones in 9th, and 29, Barrett Long continues to round out the top 10. And Rich, we're starting to see some of the early stops here coming up for some of these riders. Rich?
Yeah, I think that was Bastian Skubik who just jumped on the pit lane. He'd been running in 4th place. And the Inotherm people, a quick pit stop for the Slovenian rider, and he heads back out onto the racetrack. Meanwhile, we'll try to pick up the race leader, Michael Barnes. He is due on pit road here probably within the next 2 laps. He's built a little cushion between himself and second place. Let's see if he uses that to come on pit road or stays on course. And there he is, Barnes on pit lane at speed, Pat. And really ripping down pit lane. Barnes rolls to a stop, and they go to work. Pat?
We'll see how quick a stop Michael Barnes has here. This will give the lead over, at least temporarily, to Jeff May, number 99, and Wyatt Ferris, number 19, will move to 2nd. Bruno Silva to 3rd. Bastian Skubik is there. Fourth would be 371 Stefano Mesa. And for the moment, Shane Narbonne up into the 5th place spot. So Barnes coming in here at the end of lap 38, as did Jeff May.
They pulled the tires off, refueled the machine, and then got the tires ready and stuffed them back on. That looked like a pretty good stop. He heads back out on the course now. He's going to have to take the long way around to get back on course. Rest of the field there circulating. Let's find out exactly where the rest are. Oh, a problem for McPherson. The McNology Racing Machine in trouble. Number 594, David McPherson, has pulled it onto pit lane behind the wall, Pat. Here comes more riders onto pit lane.
Rider number 683, Ryan Jones, has pulled onto pit road. He had been running in that 9th place position as the crew goes to work. Rear tire coming off the machine. They'll put some fresh rubber on there. The fire extinguishers at the ready just in case there's any kind of a problem. But this young rider came off of 50th starting position all the way up inside of the top 10 as the final stops coming up here on lap 39. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, I'm watching the entry to pit lane. Again, they come boiling down pit lane, and that's exactly...
Jeff May is on pit road.
Yep, Jeff May at speed, rolling to the final stall. The Mayday performance entry problem for the Frisco Tap House crew. Ryan's bike refuses to fire. Pit stop going on there for Jeff May.
So finally, Ryan Jones is away after a little bit of a problem. They're getting the motorcycle to refire. And again, this will really shuffle the running order once everybody has got their pit stops done. There is the 64 machine of Shane Narbonne. He is on pit road as well. Jeff May out of the pits after completing his stop. There is the Bastian Skubik machine on pit road as he will fuel his machine. That might have been Wyatt Ferris, who came in actually a little bit earlier, and now once all of the pit stops are completed, we'll see exactly where these riders are sitting on the racetrack and what the running order is as we work lap number 40. Bastian Skubik on pit road. They've got
no front tire change for Skubik, Pat. Only a rear tire and a tank of gas. He should be set to go for the remaining 17, 18 laps.
Well, indeed, a total of 57 make up the 200-mile run here at Daytona. 39 laps completed. Jeff May, Bastian Skubik, Mark Heckles, Michael Barnes, Stefano Mesa, temporarily your top 5 as we wait for the last of the riders there in the top 10 to complete their scheduled stops. And then we'll reset the stage here for what is going to be a 20-lap sprint home to the checkered flag as the riders roll back up around, waiting for the first of the riders to roll up here to complete lap number 40. It looks like just about everybody in that top 10 did come on to pit road.
Barnes clear of the chicane now. I'm looking at the gap back to that second place machine, Pat, and it looks like it's almost 7.5 to 8 seconds. We'll get the exact count here at the start finish line, but Barnes with that really good pit stop and good re-entry has really added to his advantage. Here he comes off a NASCAR 4 back toward the start finish line. Michael Barnes with the advantage yet again. We'll watch and see exactly how far back the number 99 machine is. There's 99 and
4.1 seconds, Rich, as Michael Barnes goes through. Wyatt Ferris 6.7 seconds back in the third place position. So after all of that scramble on pit road, the same 3 riders are up there running 1, 2, 3. Michael Barnes on bike number 34. That last lap was a minute 52.148. So now we will see as they get back up to speed with the fresh rubber, but again a full weight load of fuel, what kind of lap times they're able to turn. Rider number 451 is also come here on a pit road. Carl Cohen, the Tamarack, Florida rider, on a Yamaha as they are going to change the front tire as well on that machine. Shane Narbonne, 64, running in 4th. Bastian Skubik in 5th. Stefano Mesa, 371, is 6th. 45, Mark Heckles is in 7th. And then unofficially, Bruno Silva on the number 6 machine, I believe, will come out here in 8th. 29, Barrett Long in 9th. And then Patricia Fernandez, number 926. I don't think she has pitted as yet. She was being shown in that 10th place position. Let's go to Richard.
Yeah, Pat, trying to measure the distance. There is an advisory flag out for some rider there on pit lane. There's the number 77, Mark Rhodes, the rookie expert, coming on to pit lane. The Farrell Performance sponsored rider rolls down to his position. And Pat, you can see the difference in the expertise of the pit crew. Michael Barnes' crew, very quick, very efficient in their tire change, but Cohen had a whole lot more trouble with the tire change on that number 451 machine. So there, the top 2 machines flash by into turn 1. 41 laps completed, Pat. Working lap number 42. Barnes' gap still just about the same. Here we'll have to see if Wyatt can put together a charge. Ferris showed earlier he can do 150s. Let's see, he's got to do them now. He's got to do a bunch of them now to catch Michael Barnes, who's out in front.
Well, Barnes has certainly been the master of working traffic here at Daytona. That is where he was able to open up that advantage, and I think all 3 of those top teams had pretty good pit stops to get their riders back out here with hopefully enough fuel and tires to go to the end here at 57 laps. But right now, Michael Barnes has a 5.7 second advantage over Jeff May. Wyatt Ferris sitting in that 3rd place spot. Ferris, a 22-year-old out of Calistoga, California. You're going to be hearing a lot more from this young rider who's turned in a whale of a ride here this afternoon, as we've got some further activity on pit road. But up front, Michael Barnes continues to hold this advantage, working lap number 42. Next time by, it'll be just 15 laps to go. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, Barnes got a bad card in the traffic exchange there in the chicane that time through. That might have cost him a little bit of distance. We'll have to measure the distance when they get back over to this side, but Barnes had to wait his turn. He's being cautious, but still being pretty decisive in the passing of the lap traffic as he works his way back up here to across the start-finish line. Barnes putting lap number 42 in the books. There's Wyatt Ferris across start-finish, 2nd place. Where's number 99?
6.1 seconds back is Jeff May. So Barnes has stretched out his advantage just a little bit as he works his way to the International Horseshoe Turn. And again, he's going to be dealing with some further traffic here as he works the infield. Wyatt Ferris, 7.5 seconds back there in the 3rd place spot. He had a little quicker time than Jeff May. So this one, a long way from over. John Ashmead has finally made it onto pit road. This will be his final stop. Looks like they're going to put a fresh rear tire. Paul Schwemmer and the crew, the Peter Brady Racing rider here on that number 37 Kawasaki 600, the Palm City, Florida rider, his 33rd Daytona 200 by victory. And they are trying to button up that rear wheel to get John Ashmead back out here onto the racetrack. Right now, he was being shown in 17th position, back 17th before he came on a pit road. So I think he may drop outside of the top 20. Ashmead about to roll off here from pit road. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, they're taking their time, making sure they get that rear wheel buttoned up. Now Ashmead rolls back out onto the racetrack after he finishes up that pit stop with Paul Schwimmer and the crew there on pit road. He is back underway. Meanwhile, it's going to be rush hour traffic for Michael Barnes here very shortly. He has proved to be a master in dealing with traffic, especially when he can do it himself. He's been able to whip his way in and out of the draft of these riders. And last time through the horseshoe, he actually went around the outside of 2 riders in the horseshoe, made it look fairly easy And with a great amount of speed, I might add. Here he is out of turn number 2, up the short chute, headed down into turn number 3. He's got clear sailing for about the next lap or so. We'll get the gap back to Ferris. Here's Ferris just now out of turn number 2. That's the gap. First to second place, just about an infield straightaway. Pat?
Well, indeed, Rich, the lap times tell the story. Michael Barnes, a minute 52.643. Both Jeff May and Wyatt Ferris were in minute 53. So Barnes continues to open up that advantage as he works down to the West Horseshoe turn, about to roll out onto the west banking through that sweeping left-hand turn. 7 seconds clear of Jeff May and about 8.7 seconds clear of the 22-year-old California rider Wyatt Ferris, who sits there in the third place spot as the race continues to be dominated by the Yamaha machines. The lone rider up in that lead pack early was Jason Farrell on the number 86 machine, but he went out on lap number 26 on that Kawasaki, parking it going into the infield here at turn 1.
Yeah, Pat, watching Barney into and out of the chicane. Now we see Ferris working his way through, and boy, the laps that he has completed behind Michael Barnes have helped him a little bit, but not quite enough. Michael Barnes probably didn't show him everything about getting around this racetrack, and Barnes tracks it right up next to the concrete wall, trying to cheat the win there as he comes into the tri-oval and a cross start finish. This will be lap number 44 in the books for Barnes. Here comes Ferris, number 19, up a cross start finish. Down into turn number 1, Barnes already coming out, but boy, here's some traffic he's going to have to deal with. Look at this, Pat. There's 5 riders all lined up in front of Barnes, and he's going to have to deal with them. He'll probably be through that pack before he leaves the infield. Also, more traffic entering from the access road from the pit area. He gets on just ahead of them, and now in almost the worst place on the racetrack, he's going to run into that 6-rider pack there in the West Horseshoe. Pat?
That last lap was not a good one for Wyatt Ferris. It was a minute 56 and change. That has dropped him almost 14 seconds back of the race leader, Michael Barnes, who continues to inch away. Jeff May doing all he can, and if he is going to take a shot here at the Daytona 200 win, he's going to have to start running some quicker lap times. Jeff May, of course, third here a year ago behind Danny Eslick and Josh Herron, and here he is sitting in the number 2 spot behind Michael Barnes on that number 34 Prieto Racing machine. Barnes working his way down the back straightaway, going around one of the slower riders. Now he'll have to contend with another machine. That is John Ashmead, I believe, just ahead of him in the chicane. And now we wait for the 99 machine to come through there. Jeff May, will see whether or not the interval has shrunk. It was 7.5 seconds across the stripe here at the end of lap 44. Next time by, it'll be just a dozen laps to go here for Michael Barnes on that number 34 machine. Rich?
Pat, and again, as they work their way into the infield, John Ashmead was riding co-pilot, I guess you could say, there with Barnes as they came back across start finish. Now Barnes starts to pull a little bit away from the 1989 Daytona 200 winner as they work their way through turn number 3. And the gap back to Jeff May is not getting any closer.
Well, I think he did, Rich. It was 7.5. Now it's down to 6.2, and it really depends on how clean a lap you're able to negotiate here, getting around some of those slower riders. Wyatt Ferris with a lap at a minute 52.301, sitting there in the third place spot, but he's still about 13 seconds adrift of the Michael Barnes machine as the young 22-year-old California rider continues to turn in a brilliant ride here this afternoon. Shane Narbonne, 64 in fourth, 74 Boston Skubik is fifth, sixth is 371 Stefano Mesa, and then behind Mesa in seventh is Mark Heckles, 45. Eighth is the sixth machine of Bruno Silva. Ninth is 29 Barrett Long. And then 10th is 683 Ryan Jones. Running 11th is 229 Darren James. 12th is 77 Mark Rhodes. 13th is 926 Patricia Fernandez. 14th is the 15 machine of Chris Skellinger. And then back in 15th is Anthony Fania, number 84. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, I saw Michael Barnes on the traffic that he was passing, using them as a draft slingshot thing down the back straightaway as they work their way up across start finish. Again, the riders get a little bit faster the further up in the field that you get. So into turn number 1, now waiting for the number 99 machine. There's May across start finish, and you're right, Pat. He has cut a bunch of the gap between himself. Does he have enough time? We are 11 laps away from the end of this 75th running of the Daytona 200. Again, I hope all you Fans Choice TV folks are enjoying our race here from Daytona.
Well, Rich, it looks like we've got just 9 riders running on that lead lap as the number 683 machine, Ryan Jones, I think might be the last of the riders running there on the lead lap at the moment, as Barnes 34 gets around the 230 machine of the French rider Cedric Tangre after he crashed earlier in the race at the chicane, got back out, and here's Barnes getting around one of those slower riders, exiting out of the infield and going to the west banking here on lap number 47. So next time by, it'll just be a total of 10 laps to go. The margin building back up to 7.7 seconds as Michael Barnes is into the low minute and 51 second lap times, Rich. This is one quick Creative Performance Yamaha that they brought here to Daytona, and he has been a demon getting around the slower traffic. I think both May and Wyatt Ferris. Wyatt, of course, young 22-year-old rider, doesn't have the same kind of experience that he has had difficulty getting around some of those slower riders as we look at Ferris taking a look over his left shoulder, running in that third place position. And his last lap was 1:51, so he is still on the pace and up across the line. Barney all by himself, 47 laps, goes up on the board in the 75th Daytona 200 by victory, 7.1 seconds back to Jeff May, as May had a little quicker lap that time. And the fastest of those front-running 3 riders, in fact, was Wyatt Ferris on the number 19 machine into the 1:51s. So he is close to within about 12 seconds of Michael Barnes. So with 10 laps to go, he's going to have to find a full second if he intends on running down the number 34 machine of Michael Barnes. Jeff May 7.1 seconds back in second. So we'll watch closely each one of these laps to see if any of those riders running in second and third, Jeff May or Wyatt Ferris, is able to carve into this lead that right now is about 7 seconds as Barnes clears the infield and goes to the west banking on lap number 48. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, I was watching as Jeff May came up on the traffic that Barnes made short work of, and again just was able to work his way through it with some difficulty, but not a whole lot. So he gets clear about 7.2 seconds behind the race leader. Wyatt Ferris really putting a ride on. I don't know if he's going to be able to get any closer to the number 99 machine than he is right now, but again, a fabulous ride. Now he's a relatively tall individual, and he's not quite able to tuck in quite as nicely as Michael Barnes and Jeff May. So again, as Barnes works his way off the back onto the back straightaway, off of the east banking, he's got clear sailing headed down to the chicane. He'll start to pick up a little bit of traffic here and there, but they're spread out quite nicely. He should be able to do quite well as they work their way down there toward the braking area for turn 1. Barnes just nice and steady, Pat. No real hard, aggressive moves. He's just nice, smooth, steady, and quick.
And again, another 1:51 second lap time for Michael Barnes. Roger Lyle with us in the tower here, Rich. Of course, he's been to so many of these Daytona 200s, and just talking about all of the various motorcycles that Michael Barnes has raced over his illustrious career, everything from 125 and 250 Grand Prix machines. He's even raced electric bikes in some of those electric bike races that have come up in various countries around the world. And here he is on this R6 Yamaha looking for his very first Daytona 200 championship. He has put lap number 48 up on the board. It's 8.4 seconds back to Jeff May and 14 seconds back to Wyatt Ferris. Shane Narbonne on the TOBC Yamaha having a solid run here in fourth. Bastian Skubik in the fifth place spot, so it looks like he might be headed to his second top 5 finish here in as many years in the Daytona 200. Let's go to Rich Chambers.
Yeah, Pat, what a great effort he has put in 16 times here. He continues to make a little bit of distance. Oh, Barnes gets hung up this time. He gets all out of shape getting around the traffic there in the chicane, Pat. That is definitely going to cost him. It looks like Jeff May's taking a little bit of an extra chance there in the chicane trying to get through the traffic. So that might be a second of the 7 seconds right there. Barnes had a real tough time all the way around the outside of a slower rider, and that really cost him on his drive up the banking. But here he comes back to start finish, and this will be lap number 50 in the books for
49, Rich, 49, working 50. Jeff May, we'll see what kind of a time May has. That is a little bit quicker than Barnes. It's down to 8.1 seconds. But again, with the laps winding down here, Jeff May has got to run a full second quicker over Michael Barnes, who has just been absolutely brilliant and has worked the traffic here at Daytona absolutely like a surgeon as he's about to clear out through that fast left-hander to the West Horseshoe. Wyatt Ferris, 14 seconds still adrift in third, waiting for Shane Narbonne to roll up across the line. He's about 50 seconds back of the leader, and we are showing just 9 motorcycles still running on the lead lap. And the last of those riders would be the number 29 Longevity Racing Ducati of Barrett Long, one of a number of Ducatis entered in the 200. And of course, Ducati with just one win going back a few years ago when Jason DeSalvo took the victory on a similar Ducati 848, but it will not happen for the second time here this afternoon. It's an all Yamaha top 8, I guess it is right now. Barrett Long, the first non-Yamaha rider, back in the 9th place position. Everybody else up front on the R6 Yamahas, as we're about to put lap number 50 up on the board next time by. It'll be 7 laps of the checkered flag for Boca Raton, Florida's Michael Barnes. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, that last time around I saw Jeff May getting a little bit hung up worse than Barnes. Now, both the riders have some clear sailing as Barnes makes his way up into the tri-oval across the start-finish line. That's lap number 50 in the books, and Barnes peels off into turn 1. And yes, exactly as I thought, Jeff May lost a little bit of ground that time to Michael Barnes as they work into turn number 1. Barnes is already headed down into the braking zone for turn number 3. Pat?
Well, Michael Barnes has just been oh so consistent here into the another lap at 1:51 and change, and he has opened up that advantage over the pole sitter Jeff May to 9.1 seconds. Wyatt Ferris, number 19, sitting 17 seconds back in the 3rd place spot. Then Shane Narbonne, 64 in 4th, 74 Bastian Skubik 5th, Stefano Mesa 371 in 6th, 45 Mark Heckel 7th, 8 to 6 Bruno Silva, and then in 9th, the last rider on that lead lap is Barrett Long on the Longevity Racing Ducati. Rich?
Barrett Long has put in a good ride here today as he has worked his way up into the top 10. And again, we've still got some great battles going on back there. Bastian Skubik managed to get clear of that 6-rider freight train as they work their way through the infield portion of the racetrack. And again, just less than 7 to go. Barney coming back here to the stripe to complete lap number 52 next time by. And he is really kind of taking his time now, not really pushing the envelope as they dive into the chicane and up on the banking. Pat?
Race leader Michael Barnes works his way around off of turn 4 of the super speedway as he'll bring that Prieto racing machine to the line. This will be lap number 51 going up on the board. He is 6 laps away from victory in the 75th Daytona 200 by Victory. 9.3 seconds back to the 99 machine of Jeff May, who just cannot cut into that margin. Wyatt Ferris goes through. His lap was 1:53 and change, so he now has dropped 18 seconds back of the race leader, Michael Barnes. So, Rich, this one really starting to settle in now here with less than 6 laps to go. Michael Barnes has just got to keep doing what he's been doing here, clicking off those minute 51 and 52 second lap times, working his way cleanly around traffic as he works down the short chute, coming to that sweeping right left-hander at turn number 6. And about to work out onto the west banking on lap number 52. Next time by, it'll be 5 to go to the checkered flag as we count it down. Jeff May, number 99, in second, some 9.3 seconds back. Then it is Wyatt Ferris in third, 64. Shane Narbonne taking over that TOBC ride on the Yamaha, running in fourth. Bastian Skubek, the rider from Slovenia, with a couple of top 10 finishes the last 2 years here. And it looks like he's going to get yet another one as he continues to hold on to that 5th place spot aboard the Innoturn Yamaha. 371 Stefano Mesa in 6th. 7th is 45 Mark Heckles. 8th is 6 Bruno Silva. 29 Barrett Long in 9th. And then it is Ryan Jones on the number 683 machine in 10th. 229 Darren James, North Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada rider on the Ruthless Racing Trev Dealey Motorcycles machine in 11th. 77 Mark Rhodes is 12th. 13th is 926 Patricia Fernandez. 14th is the 15 machine of Chris Skellinger, and veteran Anthony Fania, number 84, is back there in the 15th place spot. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, into the final 5 laps. This is when you start hearing noises. You start imagining vibrations. You're trying to be consistent. You're trying to pick your way through traffic, but you've just got to maintain concentration, not let little things worry you. Barnes is just sailing around this racetrack on a nice, steady pace. He has just been blistering fast all day long, and it doesn't look like he has varied his lap times by more than 2 or 3 tenths depending upon the traffic conditions. He'll slip inside another rider and head back up onto the east banking here, and again sailing out in front now, all alone here with less than 5 laps to go. What a great feeling it must be, or what a terrifying feeling it must be. He's still got almost 16 miles to go, Pat.
Well, indeed, Rich, and for at least the next little while, he'll have some clear racetrack ahead of him as he works down the back straightaway. 11.5 seconds is the margin back to Jeff May. So Barnes continues to just power away out in front. Wyatt Ferris is 20.9 seconds back in the 3rd place spot, but those Wyatt Ferris well clear of Shane Narbonne, who is about a minute back of Michael Barnes. As next time by, it'll be 53 laps up on the board and just 4 to go as the Boca Raton, Florida rider aboard the Prieto Performance and Palm Beach Police Foundation sponsored Yamaha continues to sail out in front. Don't know if there's any concerns at all, Richard, about fuel consumption and whether or not any of these riders running in the top 10 have got enough fuel to go the rest of the way. There is Jeff May completing his 53rd lap, 12.1 seconds back in the number 2 spot. That lap was not as quick as what Barnes turned, and then Wyatt Ferris is all the way in 24 seconds back of the race leader. So their lap times that needed to get quicker, and in fact it's gone just the opposite. They've become a little bit slower here as they get down to the end of the life on some of the tires that they've been running. Up on the big screen, the 34 of Michael Barnes about to work back out of the infield off of turn 6 as he will head to that west banking with a clear racetrack ahead of him. But I think before he gets to the checkered flag, there's a pack of about 7 or 8 riders ahead of him on the racetrack. That pack now heading into the chicane as Barnes comes off at turn number 2 of the Super Speedway to begin his run down the back straightaway. His average speed has been over 114 miles per hour on that Yamaha. The Shane Narbonne Machine 64 still in 4th, 74 Bastian Skubik continues to round out the top 5. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, just looking at Michael Barnes and the way he's working his way around the racetrack, just nice and consistent, smooth lines. And again, as you were saying earlier, Michael Barnes can race anything. I remember here just a little more than 20 years ago when he took one of the Britons to victory in Victory Lane. John Britton's widow and children were here and greeted him in Victory Lane with flowers. Well, I'm thinking about maybe finding some flowers to take down to this young man. He has tried so hard, so long, and here he is. He can almost feel it. Less than 3 laps to go. Continuing to put on some pretty good laps as he works his way through the infield here with less than 3 to go, Pat.
That number 34 Yamaha just jumps off of the International Horseshoe turn. Barney all by himself through the fast left-hander as he has just completed lap number 54. We've got less than 3 to go. Jeff May, 99, the pole sitter, winning the Arrive Pole Award yesterday. He was 3rd. It looks like he's going to be 1 better here this afternoon, but not right at the top of the box that I think he was pretty confident about getting after taking the pole earlier. And then what a story here, number 19. You're going to be hearing a lot more about this talented 22-year-old out of Calistoga, California, as he continues to circulate in the 3rd place position. We mentioned Patricia Fernandez in 14. Kat Zimpel has been having a pretty good solid ride here. Rich, she is 30th at the moment, and I think running about 4 laps down from the race leader. But Kat Zimpel has had a good run here this afternoon. A young lady who was born in Poland, immigrated to the United States, and has put together a pretty good racing career. Looks like she's going to get a top 30 finish in the Daytona 200 by Victory. Rich?
Yeah, what a great gal. She was part of Henry DeGal's racing program down in South Florida, and so is Michael Barnes. Michael Barnes came out of Florida a number of years ago. I remember him here at the Speedway when he won the $5,000 bounty with tire manufacturer that didn't think they had a chance to win, but Michael Barnes came through and won the big check that day. If he can hang on for a couple more laps, he's going to win the big check today. Now, there's tremendous contingency from Yamaha available in addition to the over $175,000 purse for this race. This is going to do him pretty good if he can hang on for about 2 more laps, Pat.
Waiting for the 3rd place rider, Wyatt Ferris, to roll up across the line. There he is, 32 seconds back. Rich, I'm not sure if he's got a tire going away, but his lap times have really escalated up to 1:57. Meanwhile, Jeff May, number 99, some 12 seconds back of Michael Barnes. We're on lap number 56. Next time by, we're going to see the white flag here at the finish stripe. So Michael Barnes out of Boca Raton, Florida, with less than 2 laps to go in gunning here for the Daytona 200 victory in this very special milestone 75th anniversary of the event. He works off at turn number 2 of the Super Speedway, takes a quick check over the left shoulder. Jeff May is some 12, almost 13 seconds back. He is going to have to contend with a little bit of traffic here before he gets back to take that white flag. Rich?
Yeah, Pat, I think he was just reassuring himself. I don't think he can quite believe it. He's probably pinching himself as he works his way back here to the stripe. White flag being prepared here at start finish as Michael Barnes burns his way off of the east banking, coming back here to the start finish line. And there it is, white flag out. Michael Barnes coming to the white 1 lap to go flag as he hits the stripe. Michael Barnes with 1 lap to go here in the 75th running of the Daytona 200 by Victory.
Well, Michael Barnes has the fastest lap of the race at 1:50.791. but it looks like he's almost got it on cruise control now. That last lap was a minute 54.941. Jeff May going through was actually a little bit quicker, has cut it down to about 11 seconds, but he's simply going to run out of laps as Michael Barnes works the infield straightaway here for the final time, heading down to the fast left-hander. Jeff May has gone through here, completing his 56th lap, and then there is Wyatt Ferris. That lap was even slower for Ferris, Richard. I think he's just trying to coast that motorcycle home and earn his ticket to Gatorade Victory Lane. On the infield straightaway, Charlie Mavros, number 14, fellow Florida rider, getting lapped one more time here by Barnes, number 34, as he accelerates out of the infield to the west banking, as we're going to follow him all the way around. Barnes off at turn 2. Richard.
Works his way off of the east banking around another piece of traffic there, out of NASCAR 2, down the back straightaway again, tucking in, looking over the traffic that's kind of lined up there. He'll take his time, work his way through gingerly, not really pushing the envelope. He's got this one in hand. He could almost coast home from here, but he wants to leave nothing to chance. He'll wait his turn and then accelerate out of the chicane, up on the east banking for the final time. He is less than a half mile from victory here at Daytona, out of NASCAR 4. He makes the run back here to start finish. Pat, it looks like Michael Barnes is going to win the Daytona 200.
Here comes Michael Barnes in traffic, checkered flag at the line, and Barnes has put a lock on the 75th Daytona 200 by victory. Pack of lap riders right around him as he came to the line. There's Jeff May. He will finish in second, 10.084 seconds, the margin of victory. So not the fraction of a second we had here a year ago when Josh Herron and Danny Eslick went at it. But here is Michael Barnes as he cruises through the infield, waving to the fans there on the infield straightaway. How about it, ladies and gentlemen? In the infield along the fence there, Barnes will pull off onto the grass, and I think he is about to do his celebration over there in the infield after taking the win.
At the party bus. He is over there at the McDology Racing party bus. Here's Henry DeGal, CCS Florida. What do you think? What a 200, huh, Henry?
Richard, I saw Michael Barnes in 1986 or 1987 when he first came out to race at Moroso Motorsports Park. We knew he was going to be a hot dog, and look where he is now.
He is celebrating with the McDology crew, the behind the fence gang over there. I'm sure that Carol and Pete are over there helping him celebrate as they are climbing up on the party bus. It's going to be a big night here, party, right?
You betcha, and his name is in the record books for life because this is the biggest race in the country.
All right, you developed some fabulous riders down there in South Florida. Good job, Henry.
Thanks, Richard, but this guy had the talent right out of the box.
Absolutely, I agree. Back to the tower, Pat.
Well, indeed, Richard and Henry. Henry, you've seen him. I think you took him over to the Macau Grand Prix a couple of times. And Michael Barnes, just a real talented rider, very down to earth. He'll get the big lift over the fence. And boy, does he have a lot of fans here today at Daytona. And he will get on that number 34 machine and take a victory lap here at Daytona as he becomes the 75th Daytona 200 champion. And he will head on around those fans down further down that infield straightaway. Make some noise. Michael Barnes, Boca Raton, Florida, takes the Prieto Racing Yamaha, and of course picking up the sponsorship by the Palm Beach Police Foundation, who supported his ride as well here this year, and he has taken the victory. There is 371, I believe, Stefano Mesa, congratulating him as they work out of that West Horseshoe turn. A couple of the riders there electing to light up those rear tires. So Michael Barnes, 34, wins the 75th Daytona 200 by victory, and we're going to be going to victory lane for the presentations. Full credit to Jeff May, number 99, after qualifying on the pole, taking his second consecutive Arrive Pole Award. Gave it all he could. I think both him and Wyatt Ferris were on the ragged edge at the end. I don't think they were able to deal with the slower traffic and passing riders on the racetrack as good as Michael Barnes did. As we look here on Fans Choice TV, the run home to the checkered flag, Barnes in the tri-oval area as he comes to the line, and there it is, checkered flag out at the line, and he wins the 75th running of the Daytona 200 by victory. We will be going to Gatorade Victory Lane. Jeff May, a solid run there in second. Coming home in third was Wyatt Ferris, the 22-year-old, who I think made a name for himself this year in the Daytona 200. After qualifying in the middle of the second row, was able to go up there and run in the lead pack throughout aboard his Yamaha. So it's all Yamaha R6s going to Gatorade Victory Lane here this afternoon. As soon as they've got all of the motorcycles in there, we'll be checking in with Richard Chambers for the presentation. But Michael Barnes savoring a victory lap at Daytona. He's done it in a lot of other classes over the years, but here today, the very special one, the biggest one, victory in the Daytona 200. Michael Barnes of Boca Raton, Florida, indeed is a Daytona 200 champion here in 2016. He's about to roll into Gatorade Victory Lane after taking time to pull his motorcycle off the racetrack there in the infield and head over to the bus and celebrate with all of his fans and friends who have watched his career over the last, 30 years or so, Richard? Just getting things organized there in Gatorade Victory Lane. We'll be going to Richard Chambers here shortly. A reminder that tomorrow we'll be on the racetrack here at the Speedway for our final day of ASRA and Championship Cup Series competition. We'll be on the racetrack at 8 a.m. with the first of the practice sessions, and then we'll get into our Championship Cup Series sprints, and the ASRA Sport Bike Final will kick it off. We look at the pictures here from Gatorade Victory Lane. Michael Barnes getting his helmet off, getting congratulations from one of his crew members down there after an absolutely brilliant ride. And, of course, he called on all of his years of experience here at the Speedway, getting congratulations there from Jeff May. And we'll be hearing from the third-place finisher here as well, Wyatt Ferris. Right now, we're going to send it down to Gatorade Victory Lane and check in with my announcing colleague, Richard Chambers. Rich, this has got to be...
What a crush of people over here in Gatorade Victory Lane. This is fabulous stuff. This time we'll get our presentations underway. I'd like to introduce from Calistoga, California, please welcome Mr. Ryan Ferris. Come on up, Ryan. Wyatt, of course, coming in here, 22 years old, his very first effort at the Daytona 200. What was your first race like, Wyatt?
It was good early on. We were right there and just ran into some fuel mileage issues towards the end of it. Would have liked to try to chase Jeff down, but he had a good pace, and it's good to end it up here on the podium, and I can't thank all these guys enough.
Good job, buddy. Now to present our trophy. Okay, all right, we're gonna have to clear the celebration here to get our Oh, Wyatt, you buddy, you just sit there and rest, kid. I know that was a hard 200 miles. Good job. Again, it's great to see you here in Daytona.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I can't thank all these guys enough. I didn't have anything else going for me this year, so it's good to get the year started this way, and hopefully I'll get figured out what I got going on right now in a few minutes here. But again, thank you everyone that came out here, and look forward to next year.
All right, buddy, you just sit here and take a little break, and we will. How about it, folks? Wyatt Ferris from Calistoga, California, our third place finisher here today. They're just checking on Mr. Ferris. We'll get things underway in just a minute. Mr. Andy Palomares, we'll bring you in, and you can give him the trophy for third place. Maybe that, no, just be still. There, the trophy for third place. That'll make you feel a little better, right? All right, there he is, folks. All right, now. And now, the Mayday Yamaha rider, Jeff May, our second place finisher.
Woo! What can I say? I mean, Barney had the pace today, buddy. He was getting after it, and we just, I thought I might have had something for him at the end, but on that last pit stop on my in lap, I got held up by a couple guys, and then on my way out, a guy stopped right in front of me in the horseshoe coming out, and I lost about 3 seconds, and it was game over at that point once Barney had that lead, and I tried my hardest, you know, and then about 5 to go, I was like, you know what, I just got to bring this thing home in second, and you know, I got Barney, man, couldn't happen to a better guy, man. It's awesome for him to come out of retirement and put a whooping on all of us.
Well, maybe next year you will add those 2 pole awards, and maybe that trophy's coming next year.
Yeah, maybe. I think I got to come back for sure now. I got a 3rd last year and a 2nd this year, so maybe we can take it home next year.
All right, let's bring in Mr. Andy Palomares to present the trophy. Okay, there. And now, please welcome the winner of the 75th running of the Daytona 200 by Victory, Michael Barnes. Wow, Mikey, what a day.
Yeah, I'm speechless.
What a day. I've watched you race so many times. You've had so many disappointments. This has to make you feel good.
I think the most awesome moment was pulling off the track and Danny in tears meeting me, because I did that to him. And it just, role reversal, but I wouldn't have wanted. He should be out here, and I think I might have given him a run for his money, but man, I sure am bummed he went out here to three-peat, but I'm just gonna, we'll call it a three-peat for him, so. Man, I just can't thank everybody enough. The Palm Beach Police Foundation, first and foremost, for supporting me, getting me here. Creative Performance for always pulling through when it's 2 or 3 weeks away from Daytona, and I give them a call and say, hey, want to go do Daytona? So, Pirelli Tires, nice to be home. Man, they've come a long way since I was on them last, and you know, I gotta say, that's one of the main things that did it, along with this awesome motorcycle that I picked up from Perry Melnichek. I just can't thank everybody enough, man. Everybody who helps me, you know who you are. I'm kind of speechless and fumbled for words, but this one's for quite a few people. But Mike Corbino, Santiago Villa, Westby, Tom Aquino, I mean, just the list goes on, but they were all with me. My mom, I love you all, thanks.
All right. Mr. Andy Palomares from Volusia Port, we'll let you present the trophy.
On behalf of Victory Motorcycles, Victory dealers across the United States and North America, we're proud to be sponsor of the 2016 Daytona 200 and to have provided the pace bike today, the Victory Octane, which is our most powerful, the fastest, lightest, and most affordable Victory we've ever produced. But today, Michael, fantastic race. Congratulations. The winner, Michael Barnes.
Mikey! Here to present the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona, please welcome President of Daytona International Speedway, Mr. Joey Cheatwood. Wow.
On behalf of the staff of the Daytona International Speedway, congratulations on winning the 75th Daytona 200 by Victory. And here you are, your Rolex Steel and Gold Daytona Cosmograph. Enjoy. What a great way to celebrate this championship.
Wow, look at that watch. What a great looking watch. Michael Barnes with the win. Crowd loves it. Now, we're going to try to get all three of them up here. We're going to check on Wyatt in just a minute. No, he's going to be checked on. We'll just have our top two. Wyatt Ferris just a little bit dehydrated after 200 miles at Daytona. I know exactly how he feels. Sometimes I overdo myself too, but boy, he rode hard and he brought it home here. So there they are. Folks, let's give him a big round of applause. Ryan Ferris in third, second place Jeff May, and Michael Barnes, the winner of the 75th Daytona 200 by Victory. Whoa, Pat, what a great race. Well, we still got a one whole day to do here, and it's going to be a fabulous wind-up. We encourage everybody to come on back out here tomorrow. Our thanks to all the staff and folks here at Daytona International Speedway, all our corner workers, and everybody who made it happen, our ASRA officials, CCS, and the AMA for being here and being part of our actual promotional program. Thank you so much. That's it for me down here at trackside. Back to the tower. Pat?
Well, indeed, Rich, as we say so long shortly to the fans who've been tuning in on Fans Choice TV throughout the United States, Canada, and around the world as we run down the entire results on Fans Choice TV. 41st there, you saw Arthur Coates at 66 years of age did finish here 41st and got the job done. As we look at the celebration in Victory Lane, Michael Barnes, an emotional and very popular winner here this afternoon. The Pirelli tires taking him to the win aboard that Prieto Racing and Palm Beach Police Foundation sponsored Yamaha machine, holding that big Daytona 200 by Victory trophy up after taking a hard-fought win here over pole sitter Jeff May. And certainly two very, very talented riders. Jeff May, third a year ago, second here this year. And maybe, as he said, he'll come back and maybe try to win it in 2017. An outstanding race here this afternoon. Just the one red flag that came up just before the completion of lap 20. They reverted back to the 18th lap for the restart and went all the way. So Victory Motorcycles and Michael Barnes enjoying a real victory podium celebration here. And our thanks to everyone with Victory Motorcycles. We saw the debut here on the Speedway of that fabulous Victory Octane motorcycle, a early release of a 2017 model, and I think that's going to shake up the motorcycling world just a little bit, Rich. They used it as the pace bike here for the sighting lap, and they'll be celebrating just a little bit down there in Gatorade Victory Lane. But as you said, Wyatt Ferris maybe a little bit dehydrated after a warm run of 200 miles in those leathers. But we're going to be hearing a lot more from that 22-year-old California rider who turned in an absolutely brilliant ride. As you said, some concerns with the fuel mileage down to the end, and that's why he had to back off from those early lap times that he was turning, and certainly had a number of those minute 51, and I think had one of the laps in the minute 50s. So looking at Michael Barnes posing down there in Gatorade Victory Lane, and we'll see whether or not Michael Barnes decides to come back here and tries to be a 12th back-to-back winners of the Daytona 200. 11 previous riders had won back-to-back. None of those riders have been able to go on to three-peat. And if he can come back next year and repeat, then in 2018, he'll have the shot at that. So still things going on there in Gatorade Victory Lane. Let's see if we can check in with Richard Chambers one more time. And again, we will be back with you here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. with the first of the practice sessions. We'll have racing in the morning starting at 10 o'clock, and we'll kick it off with the ASRA Sport Bike Final. That is scheduled for 10 laps. We'll then have 4 Championship Cup Series sprint races before getting into our lunch break. And then following the lunch break, we have about 10 of the Championship Cup Series sprints to get in here tomorrow afternoon. Richard, let's... Okay, Richard, I believe, has signed off here this afternoon. So I'm sure there will be a celebratory dinner somewhere here in the Daytona Beach area tonight for Michael Barnes and all of his crew and friends before they wrap up their activities here for 2016. So congratulations to all of our competitors here. An outstanding race here this afternoon, and the 3 riders going to Gatorade Victory Lane here are race winner Michael Barnes, Jeff May, the pole sitter who comes home in second, and Wyatt Ferris, who brings his Yamaha home in third. So that is going to wrap it up here at the World Center of Racing for today. Our final day of competition coming up tomorrow. Like to thank all of the race fans for coming out. Like to thank all of those with the American Sport Bike Racing Association and the Championship Cup Series, and for the management and staff of Daytona International Speedway, and for our presenting sponsor, Victory Motorcycles. We thank you for your attendance. We'll see you back out here tomorrow at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Have a pleasant evening, and we'll see you tomorrow at Daytona.
It's main event time here at DuQuoin